Mr. Morris, are you present? Miss Morris from the Youth Enterprise Development Fund. So he's joining in a few. So Mr. Killian, are you present? Mr. Killian, also joining in a few. Miss Sophia, are you present? Miss Sophia?
I am here. I am here. It's a great pleasure to engage with each of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Miss Sophia. Thank you, Mr. Dalton. I'll also request Mr. Peter, are you present? Mr. Peter? So following with that in a few, Miss Winnie from UNICAF. Miss Winnie? Following with her in a few. I know Reverend Father Canis, Reverend Father Mutie, we'd already talked. He's in the US, but he'll be able to join us also in a few. Mr. Kevin Osido, are you present? Please confirm, kindly confirm if you're present. Mr. Kevin Osido? Miss Joy from Procmura? Miss Joy from Procmura? Okay, so thank you very much. So we are going to give them like 2 minutes to join, but before that, we are going to start with the ones in the house. So as I mentioned, my name is Vincent Ayako, working for the Global Peace Foundation Kenya. And we are running a number of programs at Global Peace Foundation Kenya. We have the Peace Building Program, why we are conducted here today. We also have the Environment and Climate Change Program. We also run the Youth Empowerment Program and also the Education Program. So going to the gist of the matter today, we are graduating these novel and innovative leaders. We are calling them the President's Fellows. So these are young people who are impacting their communities in different ways. So as we are looking at Kenya now, we are in desperate need of purposeful leaders willing to lead and live with character and integrity. So we, as the Global Peace Foundation Kenya, we are committed to creating a broad-based youth movement geared towards impacting not only Kenya, Africa, but also in the world, looking and focusing at our vision of we are one human family under God. So we are keen to raise these leaders because we believe that it takes leadership for change to happen. It has to be deliberate by ensuring that the transformation of this particular leader happens. So when these leaders are transformed, we are able to be convinced with the previous model and the success stories that we have, that these particular leaders are able to positively impact their community. So they are drawn from all the 47 counties, and we want to applaud you. We want to thank you for being committed for a year going through this particular program, the President Fellowship Program. You've been empowered on areas of peace building, the aspect of moral and innovative leadership, that is leadership and governance, the aspect of creativity, that is entrepreneurship, because we believe that the education of the mind will only teach you how to earn a living, but the education of character will also teach you how to live. So they've gone through entrepreneurship, not only entrepreneurship training, but entrepreneurship character, and also contributing to the 30% forest cover by 2032. That is driving the climate change or the tree growing strategy by the government. So as we start this particular session, I'll call upon Faith to just open with a word of prayer, and then we'll be able to start from there. So welcome.
Let's bow down our heads for prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to be here today. I'd like to ask you to bless the fellows as they graduate today and everyone who's here as well. May you continue to guide each and every one of us in everything we do and everywhere we go. I also pray that you'll be able to guide these fellows as they move on to the next stage of their lives. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. the Russians will run to it and their road will always. So I'll call upon the CEO, our CEO and our team leader, Mr. Daniel Duma, to open this particular graduation ceremony, give his opening remarks, and also invite Dr. Manu. So to you, Daniel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beryl and Vincent and the team. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow young leaders, it is with great pleasure and immense pride that I stand here before you as we gather to celebrate the graduation of the third cohort of the Global Peace Foundation Kenya's President's Fellowship. This momentous occasion marks the culmination of a transformative journey for 80 exceptional young leaders who have exhibited unwavering dedication, resilience, and commitment to positive change. I would like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. Your presence here is a testament to the importance you place in investing in our future leaders and recognizing their remarkable achievements. We are honored to have esteemed individual mentors and community leaders joining us who have played a profound role in shaping the lives and futures of our deserving fellows. I want to really acknowledge our patron, Dr. Manu Chandaria, who has been guiding these fellows and who will join us in this graduation today, God willing. To the graduating fellows of the President's Fellowship, I offer my heartfelt congratulations. You have successfully completed an intensive program of mentorship, leadership development, and community service. Throughout this journey, you have shown immense growth, demonstrated remarkable leadership skills, and embraced the values of peace building, entrepreneurship, and climate action. Your commitment to making a positive impact on your communities and our nation has been truly remarkable. I must acknowledge the dedicated efforts of our mentors and facilitators, whose expertise and guidance have played a vital role in shaping the fellows' development. Your trainees, your tireless commitment to passing on your knowledge, skills, and experience has empowered these young leaders and equipped them with the tools to create lasting change. Today, as we celebrate this momentous accomplishment, let us recognize the significance of continued collaboration and support. The journey does not end here. It is our collective responsibility to nurture and sustain the spirit of leadership and service instilled in these fellows. I encourage all present here to provide ongoing guidance, mentorship, and opportunities for growth, ensuring that these talented individuals continue to flourish and contribute meaningfully to the betterment of our society. To our graduating fellows, I urge you to keep the flame of leadership and service burning brightly within you. You have shown great potential, and the future holds tremendous for you to make a lasting impact. Remember the values and lessons you have learned throughout the fellowship, and let them guide you as you embark on new endeavors. Embrace these challenges with courage, empathy, and integrity, and continue to be catalysts for positive change. In conclusion, I extend my deepest gratitude, to the Global Peace Foundation Kenya, our staff, our mentors, partners, and sponsors, and especially the Chandaria Foundation for their unwavering support and commitment to nurturing the leaders of tomorrow. Together, let us create a world filled with peace, prosperity, unity, guided by the transformative powers of leadership and service. Thank you and congratulations to the third cohort of the President's Fellowship. And let me welcome you to our summit that will be held next year in June on the 27th, as we celebrate the Global Peace Leadership Conference that is going to be highlighting, the Africa Renaissance. So this graduation's theme is about the Africa Renaissance and the role of the young people in contributing towards the renewal of Africa. So I thank you so much, and may God bless all of you. Asante sana. It is now my pleasure to welcome Dr. Manu Chandaria, if he's in, to be able to talk to the fellows. Vincent, is Dr. Chandaria logged in today? Vincent?
Okay. Thank you, Daniel. Confirm if you can hear me, Daniel.
Is Dr. Chandaria logged in?
Not yet. He's joining now.
If he's joining, then let's go to the next. So I give it back to you to welcome the next speaker. We will welcome Chandaria when he logs in. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much. So we'll go to our next speaker. That is Mr. Peter Lengapiani, the CEO of Uwezo Fund. Thank you very much. I can be able to see Dr. Manu Chandaria.
I can see Dr. Chandaria.
Yes.
Dr. Chandaria, you're welcome. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you, Daktari?
I'm all right. I'm okay. Just got little delay because we've gone out for a while.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Now, so are we waiting for others to come?
They already came in, and so it is now your time to talk to the graduates.
Oh, so you want me to start?
Yes, you go ahead, sir.
Okay, just 1 minute, huh? 1 minute.
No problem.
Okay. Okay, welcome everybody for this President Fellowship Summit. And I'm glad that everybody is meeting together and discussing the issues which are very relevant in today's time. The role of young presidents, including dialogue for sustainable peace and development in Africa. Now, this sounds very easy, but to continuously keep the peace, it cannot be done in one day. We got to influence our people around us on day-to-day basis, more or less, all the time, that peace is essential for any progress if you want to do. If you don't have the peace, then it is not possible. And many, many African countries have suffered because there would be peace for a while, and then all of a sudden there will be power struggle and the peace will be out. The question about keep peace, and peace means the development. If there's no peace, there's no development. And Africa needs to catch up with the rest of the world. It was the time of America's, Canada's, and Europe. Then came the time of Southeast Asia and China, India, Malaysia, Indonesia. And now it's the time for Africa. And if you don't wake up and do not build the basis of any development, is peace. So that's the first thing that I wanted to discuss. Then what is the role of the youth in the peace building and volunteering in Kenya? You know, people cannot, you got to keep on talking about peace. And that means the younger people should be able to go and talk on a regular basis. If there is no problems for the time being, but we got to make the minds of our people that peace is essential. And what is the role of a youth? Is to go and talk and influence. First, influence amongst themselves, the younger people. Then go and talk to the older people and explain what peace means. And without peace, there cannot be no development. I would repeat this keep on word, one word. Peace and development goes hand in hand. So the younger people, you have a responsibility, and that you have to volunteer your time. And without volunteering, it is not possible. If somebody is going to hire you to do it, that's not going to work. You go to volunteer and say, I will preach peace, irrespective whether I get paid or not. And there are no ways that people are going to pay you for preaching peace. So please remember the younger people, you are the future of Africa. And if you don't, then the Africa will remain even behind. The third thing that I wanted to talk to you was the sources of fund to youth uh, uh, startups. Now, this is always a problem. But today, every government is interested in youth because we have got many, many youths facing streets of these countries in Africa and all over Africa. So there is always a possibility if you go with a startup and explain to that what kind of a startup you would like to do and make very sure that you have studied how that you are going to run the startup, I'm sure that funding is not a problem. But funding is a problem if you do not have a proper plan or a half-baked plan, and you go and tell them that I want to start up and I want money for the startup, nobody's going to give it because money will only follow a good projects. And good startup means you thought about it, you worked on it, you're 100% sure that you will succeed. Then for that startup, there is no shortage. There are many, many organizations who are prepared to provide the startup money for you people. And the one another that issue is strength from the foresight. And today's time is a digital time. And in digital time, there is purely what they call intelligence, what they call artificial intelligence, AI. Now, AI, many of us probably heard about it, knows little bit about it, but really don't bother about it. But if you're not very careful, AI will take away whatever little that you're doing, because to them is automatic to think and produce results. So please remember that because of the AI and because of the future, and AI is going to affect your job market. And unless and until you are capable of saying that I'll be doing better than the AI, I'm prepared to put in that time, that effort, then and then you will be able to succeed. Otherwise, AI will succeed you, and you will have no possibility of them, however intelligent you are. But once they take over, then they will be multiplying in their ways and means of making very sure that you never come back inside. So please make very sure that don't laugh at AI. Remember, it's your competition. And unless and until you are very sure that you can fight and be, and that means a lot of hard work, lot of commitment. And even if you fall down, get up again, climb back, because that's the only way we can grow. So the younger people, please take these 5 points that I mentioned to you. These are all important and absolutely necessary if you want to get anything and want to get anywhere where people will say, yeah, that's the man. And we are not talking about the man. We are talking of many, many young youth around us. So please make it your own responsibility that this is your work. You have to do it. And it's up to you now to really face this challenging world. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manu. Thank you very much. Those are very noble words that you've shared with the young people. Just to retaliate, you've mentioned that the youth are the future of Africa and the future of the world, that there can never be peace without development. They go one in one, they are in tandem. And then the youth should be in the forefront of championing peace. They should talk about peace wherever they go. They should also influence their peers to drive the peace conversation, to lead peace, and ensure that they advocate peace in all spheres of their lives. You've also mentioned the bit of the need to embrace AI, artificial intelligence. Actually, Harvard and also Oxford studies indicate that in the next 5 years, 25 of the jobs are going to be disrupted. So we really need to start embracing AI, and we should not be stagnant. We should be receptive to change. So as change comes, we also need to embrace with the changes that come. And then you also mentioned the bit of entrepreneurship, the sources of funding for young people. That for your idea to be funded, you need to have an elaborate plan. We call it the business model canvas. That is not only good, but excellent, because competition is cutthroat. So they need to have innovative, strong ideas that can be funded. And also you've mentioned a bit of being people of ethics and character. They need to be resilient. As they fall, they need to pick themselves up, wipe themselves, and keep on moving, because the world is not for the weak. You have to be strong. Charles Darwin talked about the evolution theory, that the strongest species will survive. So when he was talking about the evolution theory that only strong species will survive, he did not mean only the animals, but also us, that will fall, we wake up, wipe ourselves, and move on. So thank you very much, Daktari, for sharing with us those very innovative, very brilliant ideas. You'll always remain to be the fountain of knowledge that we drink from. So thank you very much. So for the guests who have come, Daktari, you want to mention something? Yes?
No, thank you very much. And thank you. You summarized in a very well manner. And all I think that the youth must go back, think about peace, because peace is the fundamental necessity for development. Then everything else must follow.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much, Daktari.
Thank
You, and we really, really appreciate it. Yes.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Daktari. So Daktari mentioned also the issue of volunteerism and community service. I forgot about that. I know that is very close to your heart, and you're very instrumental in ensuring that we had the Volunteer Action for Peace and Development Conference that was held in the UN, I believe, in 2010. So also young people, and that's why we are having this, the President Fellowship Program for the young people to give back to their community. So thank you. I want to recognize the presence of the following speakers who are also present here with us. So we have Ms. Joy Wadambwa, that is the team leader, finance and administration, program for Christian and Muslim relations in Africa, PROCMURA. Just say hi, Joy. Then just wave. We'll give you an opportunity to share. Are you present, Joy?
Good afternoon. I'm present here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. I also want to recognize the presence of Mr. Kevin Osido, the Chief Executive Officer, County Governance Watch. Please say hi.
Jambo, good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation. I am here. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. So I also want to recognize the presence of the CEO, Uwezo Fund, Mr. Peter Dongapiani. Please say hi.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Hello.
Thank you. I also want to recognize the presence of Ms. Winnie from UNICAF. She was supposed to join. Have you been able to join, or I give you a few minutes? Winnie, if you're here, please say hi.
Hi.
Thank you, Winnie. I'll be able to give. I can hear you very well, Winnie. I'll give you an opportunity. Yeah, yes. Thank you. I was just confirming if you're present.
Yes, I'm here.
Very good. I'll also want to
Eunice.
recognize the presence of Sophia. Sophina, are you here?
Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophina. Sophina is a project management consultant. She's an expert in project management by iImpact. She's the director and founder of iImpact. I also want to recognize the presence of Mr. Killian Nyambo, the Deputy Director, Public Education Engagement at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. Killian, say hi.
Hello, everyone. It's indeed a pleasure and honor to join the rest of the team in this great occasion. Asanteni sana. Looking forward for subsequent conversation.
Thank you, Bwana Killian. Thank you, Bwana Killian. Unasemanga wewe ni ndugu wa amani. Karibu sana.
Kabisa, amani na sisi na amani. One cannot do it with the other.
Na hivyo ndo daktari ametufundisha leo. Tuko na Bwana Ben, my good friend Ben Nyabira, who used to work with the Katiba Institute. And we celebrate you. I know with Dr. Yash Palgai, you were the brains behind the drafting of the 2010 Constitution, but I know now you work with Conrad. So please say hi.
Hi, Vincent. Yes, of course, Prof. Yash Palgai did participate. I wasn't, so, but I'm of course very happy to be associated with him. And I'm very pleased to be invited to these discussions, and I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ben. Karibu sana. We also have in the house, Dr. Carlton De Cruz, the Academic Director, Nairobi International School. Please say hi, sir.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to all. It's a great pleasure to be here and to interact in this forum. So as we celebrate the graduation today, so we are also celebrating to get all these young people into the platform of global peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Daktari Bwana De Cruz. I'm very humble. Thank you for joining. So we'll go to our next speaker, and I'll call upon Joy, then followed by Kevin to make remarks. So Ms. Joy Wadambwa, please make your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vincent and the Global Peace team for inviting me for this graduation. On behalf of the Program for Christian-Muslim Relations in Africa, we take this opportunity to appreciate the organizers and also to recognize the youth who are graduating today as having gone through this mentorship program. So I want to not say so much at this point, but to recognize that youth indeed play a key and important role in our communities today, and especially in the African Renaissance, and looking at the role that they have been able to actively over the past 5 or 10 years more bring an active role. I appreciate the potential that the youth have today. And as we are all in Africa, we see that the youth population is predominant and a huge population that we are dealing with in Africa. And therefore, their training and their mentorship, just as said by Dr. Manu Chandaria, must begin today so that they are given platforms, and indeed lately they have been given platforms in which they can showcase their talent. Looking at Agenda 2063 in terms of the Africa that we want, we see that there has been a focus bringing the youth on the negotiating platforms. Youth are able to actively act as leaders in the community, but more importantly, using technology, which again has been mentioned in terms of innovation and what they are able to do. Having gone through this mentorship program, I believe that they have gained the necessary skills that they will be able to impart in their community. We see youth as economic drivers today, because they are able to use the opportunity of entrepreneurship to be innovative and to bring change in the communities. Today, youth are employers, and I believe that this team today is going to be out there and provide not only employment opportunities for themselves towards the growth of Kenya as a country and also Africa as a whole, but they are going to employ even others in the community. So they have become economic drivers. They have become innovators in today, using culture, art, through song and dance. We have seen that youth are able to bring all this on the negotiating table. But more importantly, youth are also bringing social and economic change in our communities today. They have been able to improve the standards of not only themselves, but of the wider community. Looking at a focus on youth, we see them now change the attitude which a long time ago was there. For example, we come from different classes, we come from different races, but as entrepreneurs today, we are able to remove all these barriers that have been there over the past years. Today, youth are employers, irrespective of their age, irrespective of their race, irrespective of their gender. So we see them contributing a lot in today's world. So I would like to very much appreciate the opportunities created, not only by Global Peace Foundation, but in partnership with other organizations who are here today, and encourage that these organizations and other actors in the field of our economy today indeed give youth an opportunity to showcase their talent. And again, as it has been mentioned, we need to prove as youth that indeed we are able to use those opportunities in a positive way. Looking at what PROCMURA does in relation to youth as active peace ambassadors. Youth today have been able to shape elections in specific countries, in Nigeria, in Kenya, and also in Liberia, because they have been given that opportunity to lead their agenda as peace agents. So we recognize that they are able to do a lot in our communities, they're able to do a lot in our societies, and also that they have a lot of social networks, which looking at the gender and also the age barriers today, youth enjoy a more wider social network than the normal average adult. So how do we as youth make use of those social networks that we have to bring about personal development, to create opportunities, not only for ourselves, but for others? So I see this training of the youth across the 47 counties here in Kenya as being very, very timely, because today's agenda is really being driven by the youth. And the more we embarrass them, the more we work with them, the more we encourage them and give them that opportunities to be decision makers. You can see that even in government today, ministries have been created, Uwezo Fund, the Youth Fund, Women Fund, and so on and so forth. So indeed, youth are able to drive the course of the future of Africa, looking at Agenda 2063 and what many organizations have been able to put in place in terms of supporting the youth. So I encourage them this afternoon as the new graduates roll out into their respective communities using the skills that have been embedded upon them. I believe that as individuals, as organizations, if they are given that opportunity, they will indeed be able to mold and create a different Africa, an Africa that is creative, and also in terms of climate change and security, because those are the challenges that we are facing today. Through them, we can see that they will be able to play an active role. So I will end there because I know there are other people who are going to talk, but on behalf of PROCMURA, Program for Christian-Muslim Relations in Africa, I want to say that we stand together with the youth in our communities, in our societies, and see how they can be pushed forward so that they can also deliver the youth agenda that we have today. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Joy. Thank you, Joy. We are proud of you as PROCMURA, what you're doing in terms of promoting Christians and Muslim relations. We are all brothers and sisters, and we have one common parent, Adam and Eve. So that's why our vision as Global Peace Foundation, Global Peace Foundation really resonate with what we do, that we are one human family and a God. So thank you very much for your remarks. We really, really appreciate it. I would like to call upon also my brother, Mr. Kevin Osido, the Chief Executive Officer, County Governance Watch. So we work closely with the County Governance Watch on areas of prevention of youth radicalization and violent extremism. So welcome, my brother, inspire the young people. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much, Ndugu Vincent and the Global Peace Foundation and the organizers of this very great panel of engagement on the occasion of the graduation of your mentees through the President's Fellowship Summit. I also want to thank everyone who has taken their time to be part of this conversation, and particularly the graduates. And the question that I would ask you is a question that I asked myself when I received the email from Global Peace Foundation to come and speak about the role of youth in African Renaissance. The question that I want to ask the graduates is, what does African Renaissance mean to you? I am informed that you are 200 of you drawn from the 47 counties of Kenya. But the much more exciting thing is that GPF and partners are looking at the counties from a global sphere, from a continental perspective, hence the question, African Renaissance. What does this really mean to you as a graduate who is listening to us speak today, and someone who is getting encouraged, someone who is hoping to be a change maker in your communities? My very few comments would be borrowed from a book, from the Bible. To those of us who read the Bible, and it says in Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise and shine, for your light has come." Are you ready to arise as a young graduate from the President's Fellowship Summit and face the challenges that Africa, that the world today is facing, that Africa is facing, that East African region is facing, that Kenya is facing, that your counties are facing? Taking note of the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that Africa has the youngest population in the world, with 70% of sub-Saharan Africa under the age of 30. Such a high number of young people is an opportunity for the continent's growth, but only if these new generations are fully empowered to realize their best potential. Do you feel that you've been empowered to realize your best potential today as you seek to graduate from this program? The biggest question would be, how do we empower young people to feel empowered to take charge of their destinies, to take charge of the newness of African Renaissance? Involving young people in politics and society is not just merely a question of inclusion, but one that is vital for economic growth, innovation, peace, and security. The 200 of you should realize that by 2050, 1 in 4 people on the planet will be an African. These are a seismic change that's already starting to register as we look at the global growth trends. This can be heard in the music. As people listen to different genres of music, you can see it in the movies, you can see it in the fashion, and indeed even in politics, business, trade, and industry. What does that mean to you as a young person graduating in this particular program today? You can see this wave of young people and their quest for change arising through the migration trends that we see and the dilemmas of those who remain in Africa. Why do we see a big number of young people seeking to leave the continent today, crossing through the seas? Why would you want to stay back? Is it there an opportunity for you to arise and shine, for your light has come? This is because, ladies and gentlemen, astonishing change is underway in Africa, where the population is projected to nearly double to 2.5 billion over the next quarter a century. And this therefore means, as some experts have said, that the population in Africa is seeking to transform many African countries to radically reshape the relationship with the rest of the world. And I borrow from some of the continents from Dr. Manu Chandaria in terms of comparison with the innovation, the development sphere that is already occurring in other continents. Not to mention that in 1950, Africans made only up to 8% of the world's population. A century later, there will be a quarter for 1/4 of humanity, which means that at least 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 years will be Africans. This is according to United Nations focused on population demographics. What does that demographic mean to you? As you talk about African Renaissance, as you graduate from this program, and particularly focusing on the local challenges that you are being empowered to go and respond to. The median age of the African continent is 19 years old. I mean, it's 19. In India, which is the world's most populous country, it is 28. In China and the United States, it is 38. While Kenya's median age as we speak today is 19.6 years with a population of 55,100,586. The 200 of you, where are you in that sphere of the 55 million with a median age of 19.6 years? What is the median age of those who are graduating today? The implications, ladies and gentlemen, of this youth week, therefore, means that there are immense uncertainties and there are likely variations that reverberate across countries in Africa, and particularly looking at our continent and the myriad of cultures from the 54 countries that cover the area that is larger in any demographics, size, population than China, than Europe, than India, and the United States combined. When we talk about African Renaissance, what does this mean to the 200 of you against the population of the limited opportunities that exist for young people in Africa? It therefore means that we need to begin to exert certain changes that are inbuilt. What does inbuilt change mean to us? It means that if we are to talk about African Renaissance and looking at the glow of Africa's 670 million cell phones from data analytics, it means that 1 for every second person on the continent, which is Africa, has a dominance in the usage of internet, which includes a device, the opportunity to move money, the opportunity also to launch revolutions like we have seen in some parts of African continent, and also to stop frustrations and feed dreams. Which part of these corners of change do you want to be? Africa's political reach is growing, and you are moving into an arena where the voices of young people, like I heard Joy saying, a lot of times is seeking to be stifled. But the most interesting thing is that African young people are growing out of this stiflage, and they are saying that we must put ourselves into certain change that is going to ensure that the potential of Africa is illuminated. In that illumination, how would you wish that your light is shining? With a growing choice of eager allies, people seeking to engage with Africa, continents, nations, big leaders, huge names seeking to engage with Africa, a growing choice of eager allies, Russia, China, the United States, Turkey. What does that mean to you? Especially looking at African leaders from the image of a victim and demanding a bigger say. And every day we continue to see, including in the ongoing conversations on climate change in Dubai, African leaders are seeking to make their voices count. Where is your space in making that African voice to count? Where is your space in making and in ensuring that that African voice from the leadership is shining the light of Africa? As I finish, ladies and gentlemen, there are a few issues that I want to leave you with. One is a question of peril and potential. What is the peril of Africa? Where is the potential of Africa? Would it not be possible that looking at this demographic wave, we would begin to see opportunities that will make Africa thrive, other than opportunities that will make Africa degrade? Nigeria, which is Africa's most populous nation, is already deeply stressed. How? Nearly 2/3 of its 213 million people live on less than $2 a day. And if you look at peace and security mechanisms within Nigeria, extremist violence and banditry are on the rise and on the rise. Life expectancy in Nigeria, which is Africa's populous country, is just at 53, which is 9 years below the African average. Yet, Nigeria adds another 5 million people every year into the African continent, which therefore means that by 2050, it is expected that Nigeria as a country is actually going to overtake the United States as the world's 3rd most populous country. What do those demographics mean to you as a young person graduating today, seeking competition with Nigerians within the African continent? Where is the rise of peril and potential for Africa? In 2022, young Africans it therefore means that young Africans will seek to be better educated, which is part of what you've gone through in this particular program. And as Dr. Manu Chandaria said, they will have to be much more connected than ever. Why? Because 44% of Africans graduated from high school in 2020, up from 27% in 2000. Look at the demographics of those who get into the educational space. About 570 million people use the internet, as we have said, in Africa. But finding a job, which we would call a good job, is indeed a matter of another discussion. As you come out of this particular program, and as Joy said, are you coming out as a problem creator or a solution finder? Do you want to be a job seeker or you want to be a job creator? What space do you want to fill within the peril and potential of Africa? How about frustration that is feeding desperation among young Africans? In countries like Somalia, Mozambique, and Mali, opportunity-starved young people pick up guns to fight for jihad and other violent extremist groups. And this is purely for money. In Gabon and Niger, youngsters fed up with sham politics. They crowd the streets in demonstrations. They get into stadia and they yell slogans in favor of military coups. And in the recent past, we have seen some of these successful coups in Africa. What does that mean to you? And what do you do when you are frustrated? In Africa, and particularly in Kenya, and much more specifically in your county. It means, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to go out there and begin to look for those opportunities that will be able to encourage as many young people, as many young Africans, to look for solutions from that frustration that is feeding desperation every day. And this is purely because Africa is a continent of opportunities. Africa is a continent of chances, of second chances. Africa is a continent where nothing is impossible. Africa is a continent of unlimited potential. Africa is a continent where we have been told unlimited is nothing. Which space within the African continent do you want to fill as you graduate from this program today? Do you want to be among those who will ensure that African Renaissance spirit is sparring and is growing from what we have seen from the first African Renaissance history to the second one, and now the digital African Renaissance story? Young Africans and old leaders, as you graduate from this program, how do you look at your leaders? Are they old people with no ideas? Are they youthful? Are they youth? Are they competitors? Are they partners? In terms of responding to the question of African Renaissance, as a young person graduating from this program, what is your philosophy of Africa's young voters and old leaders? A youthful continent being run by old men. The average age of an African leader today is 63 years old. The oldest president, with due respect, is President Paul Biya of Cameroon, is 90 years old, with a full 72-year older than the average Cameroonian. What is the story of our country, Kenya? Against the opportunities in affirmative action funds, against the opportunities in climate change, Kenya having hosted the global conversations called Africa Climate Summit just a few days ago. What does that mean to you in terms of leadership, governance, and the space to present solutions to the grappling challenges of Africa? Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, mine is to encourage you to go out there, find your space, create your sphere of influence. Why? Because Africa is ready for you. The future is already here. Please arise and let your light shine. I thank you.
Yes, Bwana Osido. Thank you very much, Bwana Osido. Those are very, very strong words. Those are very inspirational words. You've spoken well. And I can summarize your presentation in three quotes by great men and women. One of them is Julius Kambarage Nyerere, who says, "It can be done. You only need to play your part." So the young people are being challenged today to play our part. That change begins with us. That how frustrated are we? And when we are faced with difficulties, how are we able to solve those particular challenges to champion for moral and innovative leadership? I can also equate your presentation to one of the great men and women. That is people. They need to take charge of their lives and also to impact their environment. And the last one is on Mother Teresa, who, when she was working around the world to transform the lives of the young people, and someone asked Mother Teresa, "Do you know how many children are there in the world?" And she answered, "It's one child at a time." So you've challenged the young people to take charge, to be the advocates for transparency and accountability. You've also challenged them to arise and shine, for their times have come. So they, the young people, they are the future, as Dr. Manu mentioned, that they're the future of Africa, they are the future of the world. So today we are being challenged, young people, to arise and shine. So thank you very much, Bwana Osido. So allow me to also bring in this moral and innovative leader. Yes? So allow me to call upon Ms. Winnie, the country director, UNICAF, for also make her remarks. So karibu sana, Winnie.
Thank you so much, Vincent. I hope everyone can hear me. Sorry, I'm doing this call out in another event, and so trying to get a best position where you can all hear me. I want to thank the Global Peace Foundation for this wonderful opportunity. I want to thank the speakers who are in here, very great people. I really wish that this forum would have been a physical event where all of us can be able to meet each other, network. And so today I'm just honored. Thank you, Dr. Manu. It's a pleasure seeing you in here. And that was a great speech by you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Winnie Rachel. I'm the country manager for UNICAF Kenya. And as of today, I want to I want to be before you just to congratulate each and every one of you on this remarkable achievement of becoming the President Fellows for GPF. This is a great program. And so your dedication, perseverance, and passion, I think, has brought you to this momentous occasion. And so you should honestly give yourself a pat at the back. As you step into the next phase, for me, my greatest input would be to remind you to remember that the skills and knowledge that you have acquired during the fellowship are one of the most powerful tools to positively change your career and life. And so there are several ways, even at where we are in UNICAF, whereby we try to in a brief, UNICAF is an international organization, so we try to assist the underserved to be able to get scholarships whereby they can be able to pursue their bachelor's, master's, PhDs with international universities. And when we look into that, even in the courses that we offer, you find that after graduations, most of the youths or the graduates do not really have the significant skills. It is more of the theoretical skills that they input in their career. And so today, I just want to touch on a few things that I'd like to encourage each one of you, even as you graduate today, that you should consider making a significant impact in your space and in Kenya and also abroad, in consideration with simple things like upskilling to get to yourself to be in good leadership. For instance, in leadership and in innovation, you as a graduate, you should be able to be looking at acquiring skills to drive innovation in the various sectors. Be it in technology, healthcare, agriculture, embrace the creativity to develop solutions that address pressing challenges in Kenya. There are several issues, and Just last week, we were at the Kenya Innovation Week, and trust me, youths and the students who are still in high schools are coming up with great ideas and innovation, which are really mind-boggling. It's going to be a very disruptive environment in the next few years. And as a graduate, you cannot sit back and just think that even in graduating in such instances is the last thing that you can put yourself onto. And so the other thing you can also look at is the community empowerment, and even through Global Peace, you can be able to have these chances. We open our doors even in UNICAF to run CSR activities with the President Fellows who are from this particular graduation. And mine is to tell you that you should channel your expertise towards the community development and also just collaborate with the local opportunities, seize the opportunities to even just network and work with organizations like GPF, like UNICEF, and some of the other organizations that are in here to help implement the sustainable projects that lift up the quality of life. The other thing I like to encourage us also to pursue is the entrepreneurship bit and job creation, whereby not all of us, I think, were meant to be employees. Yeah, for some of us, I think, who are graduating here, let's think not just outside the box, but also think without the box. Like the ideas should be all over, whereby you foster economic growth by becoming entrepreneurs. And so for me, I would wish to see this graduating lot establish business that not only generate profit, but also provide employment opportunities for others, contributing to, our nation's prosperity. The other thing that I think we should be able to leverage on is on the advocacy and social change, whereby you use your voice and influence to advocate for social justice, equality, human rights, name it, and also just be the champion for positive change in policies that impact the well-being of the people. We have a lot of things coming up. One of the fields that UNICAF has really dwelt in this year, sorry, I'm even getting into 24 this year, is on the field of AI, whereby a lot of things are still there to be discovered. And so as a person, I would encourage all the graduates to be the champions of these changes in making policies. As we look at AI, even the ethics of AI are not yet up to standard. So where do you fall as a graduate today? So as you go home, think about the positive change that you can implement even in policies in different areas that you can be able to pursue. On education and mentorship, and this we do at UNICAF quite well, is by paying your investments in your education and your future. You just don't stop by the fact that you have graduated in this particular course and you think it's just all is well. For us in UNICAF, we can establish mentorship programs to share your knowledge together with Global Peace Foundation and help you inspire others to pursue excellence in the respective fields that you want to pursue. And so the last one I would like to talk about is environmental sustainability. As we speak, last week, we had COP28 in Dubai. We have had the SES held in Kenya. What is your stand? Where are you using your intellect in ensuring that you are participating in these great causes that are taking the world by force? And so take a leading role as a graduate in the environmental conservation efforts, in the climate change, implement eco-friendly practices, come up with new researches or new implementation that you'd want to be proposed even to the government and even to organizations like Global Peace. I think they have provided a great opportunity for you people to be able to contribute to the preservation of Kenya's natural beauty. Remember that the path ahead may be challenging to all of you with the issues of non-employment and a lot of things, but remember your unique skills and also experiences that you have as a person position you to be the catalyst for progress. And so as President Fellows, you have the potential to leave an indelible mark on the Kenya's future by you taking the leap of faith and just being proactive to be able to tap on the opportunities that are available. I also want to say that you should be able to embrace the responsibilities that you have with courage and determination. Don't turn it back, knowing that your contributions can actually shape the world. The person who made the bulb is an example of a process that is talked about in many forums. They did not just wake up and make the bulb. They failed several times. They had instances where they did not understand what was going, but they kept pressing on. And that is why today we have the light in our houses, in our homes, in different forums. So don't let those opportunities go. Let me leave you with a few words. Even as we continue encouraging you to consider upskilling and also pursue your masters. I will be sending a link shortly in this forum and also sharing it with Vincent so that you can be able to also get to see how and you can be able to tap in the education sector and how you can be able to upskill through even UNICAF. My parting shot would be one quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, which usually says, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." And so today, even as you graduate, seize the opportunities before you, believe in the power of your dreams, create a path that aligns with your aspirations, and also, as UNICAF works hand in hand with GPF, we are here to walk with you through this journey, supporting you, guiding you towards your success. Remember, you're not just receiving this qualification under the Presidential Fellow graduation today, but also gaining the knowledge and skills to make a positive impact in the world. So embrace the changes. Stay curious as always. You are young people and youth. Continue to learn, for education is a lifelong journey. With that, I'd like to end it there. And thank you so much for this opportunity for GPF and also the other partners. We're looking forward to working with you, and I'll send the link shortly into the chat box. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Winnie. Thank you very much, Winnie. We really appreciate for your wise words. You've challenged the young people to overcome limiting beliefs that they cannot make it. They need to believe in themselves. You've also challenged the young people to live for a purpose. They need to leave a legacy behind. And of course, also they need to have the courage of a lion. You challenge them to be courageous, to face the various challenges that they have. Transform those challenges to opportunities for the young people to be solution creators. And you've also challenged them on the bit of education in the aspect of, let's not just work towards getting that A. So what is it that you have beyond the A? Because if you look at the current education structure, the traditional model was giving a lot of emphasis on education acquisition and transmission, with skills following and less on relationship building and character development. But looking at education 2050, the broader foundation, the foundation of our education invention, that will lay a stronger foundation on character, that is being a person of integrity, followed by the need of building collaboration and relationships. And less will be focused on skills and also knowledge acquisition. So thank you very much, Winnie. We also want to appreciate that with the support we've been getting from UNICAF, you've been able to adopt a number of tree nurseries that Dr. Manu has supported. And you've adopted several nurseries from the Nairobi Primary, which have been used during the Stanchart Marathon and also the planting of the trees at the Konza Technopolis. We also want to thank UNICAF for supporting a number of GPF initiatives, majorly education and environment. So allow me also now to invite the next speaker, who is going to take us through the need for the young people to, the opportunities that exist with regards to access to affordable credit. So allow me to invite the CEO, Uwezo Fund, Mr. Peter Nengapiani. Thank you very much. Karibu, Mr. Peter.
Thank you. And all protocols observed. It's a privilege to be here in this Presidential Fellowship virtual graduation. And I'm happy that we have over 200 youth who are graduating across the 47 counties. And as the speakers have informed me what I'm supposed to speak about on the sources of funding for youth startups. For the economy to grow, each and every citizen has to be empowered in one way or another. And financial power is the root of a steady economy, and without it, national prosperity is decelerated. In our constitution of 2010, the state has indicated that an affirmative program must be established to redress any disadvantage suffered by individuals or groups because of past discrimination. Youths are among them, and they are amongst the people below the pyramid. And they are also involved, or rather the constitution allows them for decision making, to be participating in decision making and ensure that their interests and aspiration are addressed. If we look at statistics, Kenya has 16 million people working in formal and informal sectors. 2 million are in the private sector, 1 million in the public sector, and the rest in the informal sector. You can imagine out of the 16 million, almost 13 million are in the informal sector. And our Kenyan labor force, that is between the age of 15 to 64 years, account for more than a half, 57%. Still in our country, the informal sector is a very important part of the economy, and it plays a major role in job creation, income generation, poverty alleviation, equity in accessing trade opportunities, welfare improvement, economic growth, and development. It's a very important sector towards growing our gross domestic product and ensuring that we upscale our economy, and even to be rather than import economy, but rather an export economy. Of the major part under the informal sector are under the MSME, or largely called micro, small, and medium enterprises. And out of the percentages across the country, 98% the MSMEs are micro enterprises. That is about 7.4 million, according to KIPRA. 98% are micro enterprises, and these enterprises employ less than 10 persons, and the population that it engages around 14.9 million. So it's a very important sector where our young people begin from. The medium enterprise account for only 0.2%, you can imagine. That is at least some who have grown to the medium level. And the contribution to the GDP is 7%, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics of 2019. And the youth make up a third of Kenya's population. That's around 15 million youth out of our population of about 40 and above million. And 35%, around 6 million of them are unemployed or working in informal enterprises. So this is where majority of our youth are, and this is where the government has focused largely on to try and empower and enhance. Now that it is also difficult to bring everybody to employment, the government is working towards empowering the population through the affirmative action funds. And it has developed quite a number of policies as provided by the Constitution, specifically Article 54, 55, and 66, which outlines the right of marginalized and vulnerable groups, including women, youth, and PWDs. Again, as our Vision 2030 talks about transforming Kenya to a newly industrializing middle-income economy, and quite a number of policies have been passed, among them the MSMEs Act of 2012, establishing the MSEA with a mandate of providing and developing, regulating the MSME sector. We also have the amendments of the Public Finance Management Act, where we have the Women Enterprise Fund, we have the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, we have the WEZO Fund, we have Youth Enterprise Development Fund, and we have the Financial Inclusion Fund, popularly known as the Hustler Fund. These funds are mainly designed to cater for the unique needs of the respective categories who will not access credit from the formal system, because of the stringent requirements that will not fully meet. For instance, lack of collateral to support their loans application and so on. In addition, the government also has a program called AGPO, Access to Government Procurement Opportunity, and it has set aside 30% of all government procurement for youth, women, and persons with disability. And the aim of the program is to facilitate the marginalized groups to participate in government procurement and increase their market access and further improve linkages in the value chain. These are some of the programs that the government has championed to support, especially the young people who are graduating, who are out there looking for employment, that the government has provided them that opportunity that is easy. As long as their businesses are registered and they have AGPO, they can always access and they can get these affirmative funds and they can self-employ and they supply government with goods and services. Again, the government passed the national trade policy of 2016, and these policies advances the cause for poverty reduction by mainstreaming MSME in the global trade. Most of our organizations, or rather MSMEs, have actively engaged, including even the signing of the East African Commission program, whereby MSME participate across the region to market their products and services, just to ensure that there is furtherance of export diversification and the economic development. There is also the Women Economic Empowerment Strategy of 2020 to 2025, which provide a comprehensive framework for inclusion of women in economic development. These are some of the affirmative funds and programs which the government has established to support our young people who are out there still actively looking for employment. Another one is the public sector internship program, PSIP, which is provided by the public PSC, Public Service Commission, which employs young people so that they can get skills in the job market before some of the employers usually ask for experience before now they employ our young people. And the government has a program which has been running for the last almost 5 years towards employing our young people in the public sector. They get some experience, they network, and they are also mentored. They are able to understand the world of work, and of course now making them ready to be available for employment. The president pronounced that is going to increase the uptake in the next financial year, and I know once the advertisement were up and recruitment is going on, and that program will continue in every financial year. The president increased. Earlier, the PSC used to take around 4,000 to 5,000. The president pronounced himself that will be taking up to 10,000 per year. This is an opportunity where our young people can benefit from and actively participate in government employment. Quite a number of resources have been pumped out there. Over 100 billion Kenya shillings has gone with the latest fund in the block, the Hustling Fund, which has channeled almost 40 billion to Kenyans, to over 22 million Kenyans. And of course, we have the other all existing funds like Uwezo Fund, which has channeled about 8 billion. Women Enterprise Fund, which has channeled almost 30 billion. Youth Enterprise Fund, around 20 billion. And National Government Affirmative Action Fund, which has channeled almost another 28 billion. These are resources which are to improve the socioeconomic livelihood of marginalized groups, that is youth, women, and persons with disability across the country. These opportunities which are available, first of all, the existence of the government affirmative action funds. There is also the capacity building program, which is conducted by all the funds to enhance development of business plans and financial literacy. These are carried out in the respective constituencies and counties where these funds are available. and access to government procurement opportunity, which is also across both national government and county government. We also have the program of the current administration of the listing over 4 million defaulters in CRB listing. This is a program which has brought about dignity, especially to our young people who have gotten into Shylocks, borrowed resources, later on getting themselves enlisted, and their dignity is lost. The current administration ensured that over 4 million defaulters in CRB have been delisted, and they can be able to reclaim their image by participating in the Hustler Fund and even the other affirmative action fund, just to build on their credit score, build on their lendability, their creditworthiness, and they can get back to the market. So this is an opportunity that our young people needs to take advantage of. We also have the Huduma Mashinani program, where the government goes to Mashinani. We have almost 37 Huduma centers across the country, and the government intends to ensure that it reaches all the 47 counties and by large, ensuring that at least at the village level, we have a government center where our youth can access government services across the country. Again, another opportunity is about the leveraging on technology, which the government is also listing on the superhighway and ensuring that we have the innovation hubs at the village level, and government has worked closely with the CDF to ensure that these centers are set up where our young people can access employment opportunity on the internet. And this is a program run by the ICT, Ministry of ICT, that our young people can access the internet, and they can participate in the job market in the digital space. And also other various county government programs which are there to support, to bring about county-specific economic interventions across the country. As I mentioned earlier, on the affirmative action funds, we have Uwezo, which is largely a constituency-based fund, easy to apply. You just need to get an application form at the constituency level, fill it, submit to the committee at your respective constituency where you come from. You can get it at the CDF office, in our website, or even at the CDF office. And you submit them. The representative, this is one of the highly devolved fund. Those people who resources are devolved together with their responsibility. And it's a committee which sits down at the constituency level which allocate resources. So the moment you apply, then the only requirement is for you to have a certificate, a self-help group certificate, and you can be able to start your own business, or rather you can start a group business, and quite easy, 0% interest, 6 months grace period, 24 months repayment period. So once you are able to collect this money and repay, build your credit score, you grow to the next product. You start with Wezesha between 50,000 to 100,000. You move to the Endeleza, 100,000 and above. And you'll go to Youth Enterprise Development Fund, which provide loans to youth-owned enterprises. You also provide market support to youth enterprises, facilitate youth enterprise to develop linkages, and provide business, facilitate youth to obtain jobs abroad. There is a program that's run by the Youth Enterprise Fund to support the youth get jobs abroad. And quite a number of products. They have group loans, they have VUCA loans for business expansion. They also have agribiz loan for those who want to engage in agriculture. There is Talanta loan for those who are participating in creative or performing arts. And they also have LPO, LSO financing for those who have gotten AGPO to supply government with services, products and services. Then we have Youth Enterprise Development Fund, which provides subsidized credits to you women entrepreneurs for enterprise development. And quite a number of products. They have group loans, they have individual loans, and LSO financing, and they also have SACCO lending. These are some of the programs that this institution and women cut across from youth and women, and youth women and women above the age of 35 and above. Then lastly, we have the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, not actually lastly, but second last. This fund is based at the county level and is to enhance access to financial services for the vulnerable groups through providing grant funds to groups, CBOs, and SACCOs owned by youth, women, and PWDs. And they support value addition, socioeconomic development, and also establishment of rehabilitation centers, especially for drug and substance abuse across the country. Quite a number of products and services. They have Women Economic Empowerment Program to support the use of the group of youth with grants. They also provide bursaries and scholarship program to support, to enhance your education. And you can apply at your various county level. The Value Addition Initiative support to GBV prevention and responses, nurturing development of youth talent, and of course, prevention of drug and substance abuse. And lastly, we have the Hustler Fund. As all of us know, when you dial *254#, it takes you to the Hustler Fund where you can access credit. This fund was established to at least bring people, especially the youth, back to credit and uplift their standard or bring back their dignity, where they can borrow and repay, and they also do some savings. The moment you borrow, 5% goes towards your savings, and out of that, 70% goes towards long-term investment, 30% towards short-term investment. And I know quite a number of you are aware because of the publicity which has been done on the Hustler Fund. And it's also a program that can help you to start building on your credit score. And it's important the moment now you start on investing and savings in the long run, you'll be having a substantial amount of money. Then the government provide a matching fund 2 to 1. If you save 2 shillings, the government matches it with 1 additional shilling. And that one also helps you in terms of improving your credit score. So it's a very good program that we need to participate as young people, build on our credit score, build on our credit worthiness, build on our savings, and improve and enhance on our saving culture. The little we have, we can always save for tomorrow, and even the government can borrow from these savings and use it to enhance our resources. A number of barriers faced by young people in terms of accessing these credits, and government has worked closely to try and see how best can we de-risk, especially the youth, so that they are also bankable. And that's the reason why the government opened that window to remove a whopping 4 million young people from CRB, so that they can at least redeem their image and indicate that they have potential towards borrowing. Technology is another aspect that is really incoming. Most of the speakers talk about AI. It's a high time for young people now to embrace technology and even understand the robotic analytics. This has been embraced in China. And that's the reason why China is becoming a powerhouse in terms of innovation, in terms of efficiency, and ensuring that they are able to supply across the globe with a great efficiency and quite a number of products that they can produce. This is where we need to get. This is the space for the young people. Let us not fear technology. Let us get deeper into technology and see how do we bring solutions to some of the challenges that we face currently as a nation and as a continent. So it's upon ourselves to embrace technology and are able to solve quite a number of problems and challenges that we face. Our resource mobilization is also another strategy we need to take up as young people. When we graduate today, I know a number of you are scratching your heads not knowing where will I get the next opportunity. Am I going to get an employment next? Am I going to get some finances to start my business? And so on. Start by resource mobilization. Start with Hustler Fund. Start with Uwezo Fund. Start with Youth Enterprise Fund. Start with the Women Enterprise Fund. This is where you can begin from. And you'll be able to pull these resources together, come up with a business idea. It can be a startup. It can be expanding what your parents have started or what your relatives have or your friends, as long as it makes some business sense and you know that you can get some income. Go for it. This is the time that you can try and see if you can make a shilling or two there to help you. Participate in the legislative process. A number of regulations and legal frameworks. The government is reviewing a number of them. Participate in them, whether during the public participation program and probably in the various organizations or professionals that we are engaged in. It's important that we air our voices in quite a number of legal instruments that govern various programs across the country. Take advantage of the capacity building program provided by the Affirmative Action Fund and understand how to develop a business plan. Even banking sector, they provide financial literacy across, and you get even sometimes they conduct them in the village level. It's also important that you participate in these programs. Get yourself understand and also understand the market dynamics and various number of products that the government provide. This way, we'll be able to feel involved in the program. We also feel that we are part and parcel and will be able to enhance the opportunity. We'll take advantage of the opportunity which are existing, and it will help us build going to the next level. Otherwise, I leave you with the words of one of the philosophers called Aristotle, who said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit." Thank you.
Wow, that is a very powerful. Umemalizia vizuri sana. So excellence should be made as a habit, and it doesn't just come. It comes as a result of doing something over and over again until you become an expert in it. So thank you very much, Bwana CEO Uwezo Fund, Mr. Peter Legapiani. I know Global Peace Foundation, we are really going to work closely with your office under our LEAP Hub program, that is Leadership and Entrepreneurship Program, where we train the young people on business incubation and acceleration. And you being here, we really appreciate, because one of the mentorship areas for the President Fellows is on business incubation and acceleration. So we take them through 3 days bootcamp, 1 month mentorship and coaching. So we'll be able to reach out to your office and see the young people who have gone through this program, how can they also be able to benefit from the initiative in your office. Of course, knowledge, as you've mentioned, you find that around 56%, 54% of startups do not live to see their first birthday. That is 1 year. And only 44% succeed. And the reason why they fail is, number one, is limited business knowledge, lack of ready market, lack of market linkage, and limited access to seed capital. So we are happy to engage with your office and explore possible ways of supporting these President Fellows across the 47 counties to benefit from the programs that you have. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. So allow me to call Bwana Killian. I know you're going to another engagement. So Killian from NCIC, please come and share on the role of the youth in peace building and volunteerism in Kenya. We want to thank NCIC for supporting us, working closely together on issues to do with prevention of electoral violence. With the support from UNDP, we were one of the grantees from NCIC, and we really want to thank you for that. So karibu Bwana Killian.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bwana Vincent and Faith and the rest of the team. I want to join the rest of other presenters earlier on who spoke earlier on in congratulating the presidents who are graduating. Of course, it's a pleasure. And of course, once you earn that title, you graduate as a president, it confers unto you quite a number of responsibilities, which I'm sure all of us are up to. Of course, as you have been informed, my name is Killian Nyambo. I work for the National Cohesion and Integration Commission as the officer in charge of the public outreach and engagement. And of course, elsewhere, I'm also a Rotarian, and I'm equally a president of Rotary Club of Ngong Hills. And we do appreciate whenever we do offer services to the community. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this engagement which we are having, allow me to change the mode of presentation. I know the rest of my other colleagues have been giving us our speeches, and I would appreciate if in my engagement, I can be able again to share with you a very brief presentation within the limited time on the topic which I've been given, the role of youth in peace building and volunteerism in Kenya. And of course, as usual, I want to begin my discussion with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. I like Mahatma Gandhi because of his passion of nonviolence in sorting out any issues. And of course, as presidents, you will discover as graduates that when you will be going out there, the temptation will be high when things don't move the way you want them to move. The temptation will be high for you to push them, and through probably violent means, which sometimes do not solve issues, but make things even worse. Mahatma Gandhi said that I object to violence because when it appears to do good, the good is only temporarily. However, the evil it does is permanent. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow colleagues, even today, we are still remember the evils which occurred in 2007-08 post-election violence so many years down the line. And this is because of what we are referring to as violence. Now, friends, today we are celebrating the graduation of the young people. And of course, we are focusing on the role of young people. Of course, my previous speaker from the Youth Fund, the CEO, Mr. Peter, gave you some statistics about the youth. But of course, why are we concentrating so much? Why are we focusing so much on the youth? Of course, statistics from the Ministry of Youth tells us that there are still over 60% of the Kenyan populace. So this makes them the huge group of people whose potential is just too great to be ignored. But of course, we must be alive to the fact that our young people, ladies and gentlemen, they're the ones who bear the greatest brunt whenever issues to do with conflict normally happens. Because many times, this is the very group which participates in conflict, either as perpetrators or sometimes they become the victims of the very violence. And that's why we must deliberately and purposefully target the young people. So there are some significant reasons on why it is very, very critical to strive to empower our young people, particularly on the areas of peace building and harmonious coexistence. Of course, it's a fact that our young people, they have access to diverse diverse spheres of influence. When you talk about matters to do with social media, you will find them. Talk about how they engage in businesses, you will find our young people. So they're there in their huge numbers. But of course, let's not forget that our young people pose a significant number within the community and country, as I shared earlier in the statistics which I had previously given. When we are looking at how our families and societies are wired, definitely it is the young people whom we rely for manpower, for assistance, to do quite a number of engagement and activities. So because they carry some very serious strength within our engagement. But above all, the engagement of young people in all spheres of our life is a requirement nationally as a constitutional requirement, but also when you look at the several international conventions, one of the requirements for engagement of the youth is a must when we're talking about matters to do with inclusivity. So in line with different international interventions, specifically, allow me to mention about the United Nations Security Council Resolutions 2250, which speaks to matters to do with youth, peace, and security. Now, with this resolution, it is absolutely necessary to ensure that young people are being engaged in matters to do with peace building. And the very reason, remember the 5 pillars which we do have in this, the pillar of the pillars of participation, prevention, partnership, disengagement, and reintegration, and so on and so forth. This shows that even right from the world stage and even at the local stage, the engagement of young people, of the youth, is a prerequisite if we are to attain anything. And of course, part of the challenge which, as presidents who are graduating, we need to provide you with is how are we going to participate in most of this engagement? Do we have this spirit of saying, unless I'm being given seating allowance, unless I'm being facilitated transport allowance, I cannot engage myself in what is happening within my community, whether it is being spearheaded by the private sector or the public government sector. It's a requirement. When we are talking about prevention and protection, it is us to follow the adage that prevention is better than cure. Kuzuia ni bora kuliko kutibu, and related things. When we are talking about partnership, one of the things I'll be discussing in a short while, we cannot be able to move alone. We need to work along with others for us to be able to attain our different objectives, our different aspirations. So, ladies and gentlemen, since I'm intending to focus more on matters to do with peace building and volunteerism, why specifically is our attention focused on matters to do with peace building? Ladies and gentlemen, presidents and rest of colleagues joining me in this conversation, we must acknowledge one fact, that nothing can be able to be realized in an environment of conflict, particularly violent conflicts and turmoil. Whether it's business, whether it's pleasure, whichever activity we want to undertake, it must be undertaken in an environment of peace. But of course, we appreciate that as human beings, our differences will always be there, being religious, being political, being class, all those. But many times, we are not looking at this diverse situation positively. Many times they end up bringing conflict within our engagement. And as such, what is this thing which we are calling as conflict? As presidents, while you are out there, ladies and gentlemen, definitely you will be engaging people of different opinions, different aspirations, different beliefs, different objectives. But of course, in our human nature, there are times when you'll see things your way, where others will see it their way. Now, if we don't see how we can be able to harmonize our differences in terms of perceptions, and we keep on having incompatibility in goals and objectives, ladies and gentlemen, presidents who are graduating, you will be facing a situation of conflict. Many times, presidents and fellow participants in this engagement, we are faced with a choice of perspectives. On one side, we look at things in our own way, but of course, we fail to realize the perspective of others, and hence, we end up creating conflicts in our engagement with our fellow young people, with our neighbors, with different organizations, and so on and so forth. But one thing which is clear is that we need to be able to understand the perspective of other people. And when we are engaging, we need to moderate our argumentation and focus on discussions to concentrate on the perspective of other people in order to understand why they are looking at things the way they are looking at those things. So, as president, as you're graduating, you'll be moving out there in the community. But of course, inside that community, sometimes things will go wrong. So what is this thing which will be contributing into the conflicts in our various counties, our various spaces, our various areas where we shall be operating? We are talking about several causes which might be causing conflicts in our engagement. We are talking about poor communication. How many times, how are we passing across our ideas? How are we passing across our messages and related stuff. If this is not being done well, ladies and gentlemen, it might breed into conflicts. We are talking about lack of compromise. Today, you're graduating. Sometimes you'll go feeling good, feeling high, and it's like everybody must notice that indeed you have graduated. But sometimes you must compromise. You must be able to humble yourself so that you can be able to have a feeling of others. Because when we don't learn to compromise, definitely conflicts are going to be bred in our engagement with others. Talk about needs not being met. Talk about matters to do with prejudice. Ladies and gentlemen, matters to do with intolerance, self-interest, ignorance, desire for power, lack of empathy, and making assumptions. All these can be able to breed conflicts in our engagement with the rest. So by us understanding some of these contributors to conflict within our engagement as presidents and as people who are engaging others, because we are not existing in vacuum, it is our responsibility to be able to know how do we moderate most of these contributors to conflict to ensure that it does not breed into the negative consequences. Speaking on the negative consequences, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't become conscious that our actions can be able to breed into violence, or our action can be able to exacerbate matters to do with conflict, the ramifications and repercussions might be catastrophic, either socially, economically, and even politically. Ladies and gentlemen, we have experienced this in our different situations, right from the 2007 post-election violence and even into other inter-community violence which has been experienced in different parts of our country. This is something which, as young people, as graduates, as the people whom we have been reminded time and again that indeed we own the present and the future, we must be able to look for possible ways of intervening. But how do we intervene? Sometimes we must be able to explore the wonderful opportunity of volunteerism. Here, I am inspired, ladies and gentlemen, by the quote from Helen Dyer, who said that volunteerism is the voice of the people put into action. Many times we do complain, many times we are going to raise a lot of issues. But beside raising the issues, what do? Volunteerism requires us to put our voices into action. But it's not just any action, it is the actions which shape and mold the present into future of which we can all be proud of. Wonderful philosophical argument from Helen Dyer. Now, beside what Helen Dyer mentioned, basically, as graduates, we must understand when we are moving there, what is this difference between volunteerism and non-volunteerism? When, ladies and gentlemen, we are providing our services to benefit other groups, other persons, or other causes, without the primary objective of us being paid to do that, we will be considered to be volunteerism. I mourn our current situation where the spirit of volunteerism is becoming lesser and lesser, particularly among our young people. Today, when you see a car getting stuck in the mud, ask the young people, please, can you come and help me up? The first questions they'll be asking you, hey, Buddha, utachota ngapi? That spirit fills opportunities for future. So when we are indeed volunteering as graduates, we are talking about us observing the critical 4 elements. The elements of free will, it must come from within, not superimposed. You're not doing it because it was placed as a condition. It is our willingness to help and assist other persons, other groups, to assist the different positive causes within our community. And of course, when we are undertaking volunteerism, ladies and gentlemen, it must not be based on the condition that there must be a financial reward at the end of it all. No. If something is going to come out of it, well and good. But the focus and the intention is not that reward. And that's where we want to kill this culture of saying, I can only attend a certain function because there's a seating allowance. I can only participate in a certain event because we are looking about the spirit of helping others. And these others might be strangers. In Rotary, where we also help communities, we don't help them because we expect something in return from them. No, because it is good. We're talking about matters about our values as African community. Of course, many of these volunteerism definitely have to be done through certain organizations, certain establishments. They can be through families, they can be through communities, they can be through the various organizations which we lead from where we come from, and so on and so forth. But of course, let us not close our eyes from the sight that sometimes volunteerism can be beneficial to us. How? It accords us certain recognition for the services which we offer. And sometimes when we engage, we might end up having some goodies, things like t-shirts, food, and even at times free membership to certain organizations. So this is meant to tell us that in as much as we are trying to provide services for free, at times there are other benefits which might accrue along. But of course, I want to insist, this ought not to be the basic desire on why we are volunteerism. Now, in our country, we can volunteer in three broad categories. We can be able to practice as graduates, what we call social action volunteerism. We acknowledge the fact that in the communities where we are living in, there are a number of social related vices which we need to raise awareness about. We appreciate that even in our political engagement, in our socio-economic engagement, there are certain of the things where we require the public, we require the members of the public, the citizens, to be able to be aware of. As fresh graduates, you are called upon to engage in social action volunteerism. Let us see you out there, raising awareness against the various ills affecting our society, but of course, proposing certain solutions on what needs to be done. As we are all aware, currently there's a conference going on, the Climate Change Conference. Why are we seeing the entire world taking this? Because we appreciate that our planet is at risk. So as presidents or graduates of this wonderful program of presidential fellowship, we are called upon to practice conservation volunteerism. We need to be careful and to take care of our environment for the well-being of the planet and its people. Currently, you have seen the country is suffering from the floods arising from the El Nino phenomenon. But when all things are happening, where are the young people? Yes, we appreciate that a number of them are victims of the same, but this is another wonderful platform where we can be able to give back to the community. Look at the people who are suffering. They don't have shelter. Movement is becoming a challenge. We have an opportunity as the graduates of this fellowship to be able to have this conversation, conservation volunteerism, and lead the way. Of course, the third area where I invite the graduates to volunteer is on the area of education volunteerism, in which, as you work in different organizations, in different companies, in different establishments, you will be able to build relationships and skills which can be beneficial to you and the entire community and the organizations which you represent in the near future. Ladies and gentlemen, I was supposed to speak about the role of youth in peace building and volunteerism in Kenya. So, does our young people have a critical role to play? Yes, indeed. But particularly when we are talking about matters to do with peace building, cohesion building, and volunteerism, ladies and gentlemen, I would encourage all of us to follow these simple rules. In our organizations, in our relationship with our fellow young people, in our relationship with the different community members, we will always disagree. We will always see things in different perspectives. But as we do so, there are three critical issues which I would wish to invite us to concentrate on. Let us engage, at the very least, in informal discussions, so that we can be able to understand the perspective of others, the views of others, as well as enlighten them to see our own perspective. But if this does not work, we can enter into negotiation where we want to look for a win-win situation. It's not about you losing and I winning or vice versa, but at least compromising some elements from your side and I do the same, but we all win in certain fronts. But in a worst case scenario, we can also engage in mediation. If we can't compromise, we can be able to bring a third party to look at our issues. Now, the important about the three areas which I'm talking about, the decision remains with us. But in a situation where we cannot decide, then definitely there are elements of arbitration and adjudication where we expect the decision to be done by an external person. It is only in the most unfortunate incidences where force will come. But as young people, as presidents, let's not go there. My advice, my appeal is we concentrate to resolve our differences soberly through informal discussions, negotiations, and mediations. And where should these fail, we can try arbitration and adjudication. As I wind up my engagement, allow me to talk about the 4 practical ways which the graduates of this program can engage in terms of peace building and volunteerism. The first and a critical element we expect as graduates to undertake is participation in community engagement. Here, I want to remind you about the 5 issues which have been espoused in the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2250, participation. Many times, as I've said, there's a serious challenge we are witnessing, particularly within our young people, but in taking part in community engagements. Many of our young people can be busy watching Man U versus Arsenal, Arsenal versus Manchester City, Liverpool, and so on and so forth. But ask them to participate in meetings which are happening in their community where they live in. They don't have time. Yet, it is in those meetings, ladies and gentlemen, where issues affecting the community are discussed. It is our responsibility as graduates of this good fellowship program to ensure that we take part in dialogue and reconciliation initiatives in and outside our areas. I challenge ourselves where we get an opportunity to capacity build ourselves in terms of trainings on matters to do with peace building and conflict management. Let us volunteer with or without payment. But of course, now that majority of us belong to certain organizations, certain communities, we can be able to create platforms to advocate on peace and cohesion matters within and without our respective. But the key word here, ladies and gentlemen, is participation in community engagement. Critical role we can be able to undertake and engage as graduates of this fellowship. The second area, and in line with the UN resolution 2250 is partnership. Why partnership? Fellow participants, we cannot be able to achieve alone. We are always reminded, the adage says, if you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, walk with others. So as young people, as graduates of this program, and partners in different spheres of our country, we must be deliberate, we must be purposeful in establishing partnership with stakeholders and like-minded partners and actors. I'm calling and challenging all of us this afternoon to learn to engage with the private sector and businessmen. I was happy to have a business expert here, Dr. Manu Chandaria. These are the individuals we can engage and get a lot of experience, a lot of skills, a lot of wisdom on how to navigate in the murky waters of private sector. But as young people, many times we shun our engagement with security officers. We only visit police stations when we are in trouble, either as perpetrators because we have been arrested, or as victims because we have been injured or we have suffered a certain loss, and hence we must visit a police station. But as young people, there's a lot we can be able to exchange. There's a lot we can be able to learn. There's a lot of inspiration we can be able to give if we have periodic conversation with our security officers. Remember, when conflicts happens, these are the people we desire to come and help us intervene in cases of conflicts, in cases of turmoil. Let us not engage them only when the situation is not good, when there's a volatility of environment which we are operating in. We can take chance to say, within 3 months, let's have conversation with this. Let us understand how they experience their work, and let them also understand us on how we would wish to be treated by them. Equally, in the spirit of partnership, it is quite of critical importance as graduates to also engage with the political class. Speak about the local, county, and national leadership. How many times are we engaging our MCAs and hold them accountable for the promises they made? How many times are we engaging the county leadership in our advocacy to put them to account for the many promises they made? How many times are we creating opportunities to even engage the national leadership on issues affecting our community's welfare? We shun them. We only go there during political rallies when people are canvassing for votes, but we don't so much push the agenda of deliberately engaging them into discussions on part of our contribution and their responsibility on improvement of our community. Finally, on the matters to do with partnership, ladies and gentlemen, presidents, graduates, it is of critical importance we engage the media at all levels for dissemination of community issues and positive stories. Every now and then we pick newspapers, it's all about sad stories. It's all about the famine, it's all about the floods, and sometimes we tend to give up. But I think there's a lot of positive things which young people are doing elsewhere they're coming from. But this information is not disseminated because rarely do we invite the media to share some of our positive success stories. I challenge under this second role for us to be able to create partnership and stakeholders for us to be able to promote peace and the spirit of volunteerism. Of course, the third role which we can effectively undertake as graduates of this presidential fellowship program is to take an active part in formation of peace structures and peace platform from wherever we come from. Remember, as I already previously spoke, nothing can succeed, nothing can progress in an environment of turmoil. The reason why we are hosting so many refugees all the way from Somalia, some from Southern Sudan, and other areas of our continent where there are chaos, is because there's no peace. So we must make it our deliberate effort, young people, to involve ourselves in the peace committees available at different ranks. Is it at the village level? Is it at the ward level? Is it at the sub-county level? Is it at the district level? We must deliberately engage ourselves in the dispute resolution mechanism within our communities. Remember the different modalities which are earlier shared. And indeed, we need to volunteer to become peace and cohesion monitors and agents. We belong to the community. And being in the community, we are seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly. But when it happens, we shouldn't be people who are following the Shaggy song, "It wasn't me." We must deliberately take effect. And we must establish early warning and early response mechanism as young people to ensure that things can be able to be addressed before they escalate. Finally, the last area where we can play an active role as young people is through establishment of Amani clubs at community levels. Indeed, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, in partnership with the Teacher Service Commission and the Ministry of Education, at educational institutions, we have been facilitating the establishment of peace clubs. But again, these peace clubs need not to end within the educational institutions. They can be continued even out of school. And the people who are supposed to drive this agenda are the graduates of this presidential fellowship program. So how can we be able to do this? There are so many activities under Amani Club which we encourage young people to engage themselves in. Speak of participating in public events and meetings. Very soon next week, we are going to be commemorating Jamhuri Day on 12th of December. How many of us will be either through technology, following up the proceedings through the televised, or even be bold enough walking ourselves into these arenas where these commemorations are being held? So most of us, that is a chance to sleep, relax, make merry. I have no problem for you relaxing and making merry. But can we be able to be patriotic enough to attend these events and meetings and hear what is in store from the government, and if possible also give our own perspectives? We can volunteer, ladies and gentlemen, under Amani clubs to organize cleanup activities wherever we are staying, wherever we are living. We can. It is possible to establish peace gardens and nature trails. It is possible to plant trees. It is possible. We can be able to offer community service to the less fortunate in our community. We can be able to organize dialogue forums so that where we have issues which are affecting our community, rather than people resorting to violence, they can be able to invite the respective government officers in our area and speak to the issues bedeviling our respective areas. I would love to see the graduates of this wonderful program organizing peace caravan and peace walks. I would love to see them when we have our communities fighting in West Pokot, in Turkana, in Samburu, in Marsabit, in Mandera, in Wajir, in all these areas where we are experiencing, the young people, rather than participating as combatants in those conflicts, we can be able to encourage them to participate as the agents and ambassadors for peace. It is possible. I'm looking forward to some of us having graduated in this program, not to relax, but to continue capacity building on how we can be the agents of peace. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude my brief presentation, just as I started, I am inspired by the words of Martin Luther King Jr., the American civil rights crusader. This is what Martin Luther said, that everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. Neither don't you need to have specific subject or verb and to agree to serve. All we need is a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. Wonderful philosophical statement from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We can all serve, we can all volunteer, we can all create a change. So how do we create this positive change in our community? Start where you are. Use what you have and do what you can. With those statements, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bring to closure my discussions with you in the role of youth in peace building and volunteerism in Kenya. I do appreciate for listening to my presentation. Thank you so much. Back to you, Vincent. And
Mr.
yes, please.
You can conclude.
I have already concluded. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'd like to thank you for taking the time to share with us the role of youth in peace building and volunteerism in Kenya. I'm seeing a lot of the fellows are very interested in what you showed us today. So I'd also like to now bring out our next speaker, Mr. Carlton De Cruz from the Nairobi International School, who will be taking us through importance of volunteerism and community service. Dr. De Cruz, kindly, if you can unmute yourself and also just take 10 minutes as well so that you can stick to the program.
Good evening, all. It's a great pleasure for me to address this occasion when we have the graduates with us who are going to be the stakeholders of tomorrow in the community service and in the volunteerism. How important are they? Today they are graduating. Tomorrow they are going to take their roles into different aspects of society. So the first one is how important you are. That is the first thing you have to understand. Your personal growth and your development. When you're engaging yourself in the community service, because the previous speakers have given you an impact about the role that we have to play in society in terms of our voluntary association and in terms of our contribution to the community. But today I'm giving you some tips on your specific role that you can play, on your specific areas that you need to know. The first thing you have to keep in mind is to become smart. Then only we can play the role very well into the society. What is this smart? Smart means you have to be a very specific person in making specific decision making. Be very measurable in your decisions. Be very accurate and be very realistic in your decision and in your time management. That is where you will enrich the society and the community that you are going to be in. Building empathy and compassion. Volunteering yourself. When we try to do a voluntary service, what does that impact? That shows your leadership quality. That comes within you. That is called the passion. If you don't have the right passion, you will never become the right leader. You have to have the passion, the empathy, and the compassion to understand the feelings of others. You see? So that is where you need to work on. That is where you have to bring all the emphasis of your leadership skill of understanding the need of others and what is needed in the society. Moving on to the next, contributing to the community well-being. Among you, there are 4 different categories of youth when you are graduating here today. There are pragmatists, there are theorists, there are reflectors, and there are activists. So these are the characters of the next generation that is going to come in within a span of another 10 years. They can be very good doctors, very good engineers, very good government officials who can run the government effectively. No, that is where you will embark on. Play the vital role in addressing the local needs. Understand your leadership, understand your ability, understand your capability, and come up to serve the community. So that is what the generation is looking forward to. Volunteer yourself. Be an optimist, not a pessimist. You should understand the feeling of others. Then you will go down to them instead of them coming to you. So that is where your quality should take you to get into the philosophy, to understand the feeling of the people in the community, where you need to develop, where you need to emphasize. Going into the next, we can say contributing, fostering social connection, volunteering. So when we say we want to do voluntary work, what are the essence of qualities that you are going to carry to the community? You have to understand. You have to have the like-mindedness of the individuals whom you are going to associate with, understand their feelings. The youth of today, we need to sit with them, understand them, give them a chance and listen to them. Then you will understand their feelings, their emotions, and what they want to do for the society at large. It helps combat feeling of isolation and encourages the formation of lasting friendship. That is what you have to keep in mind. That is why I told you, be very smart, be very specific about what you want to achieve in the society, in the community, because already my previous speakers have already told you, in the starting by Dr. Manu Chandaria, the innovation and the creativity of the AI is coming up and giving challenges. So, my dear youth, when you graduate today, you are going to meet those challenges out there. And Kenya has a wider opening into the technological innovation and creativity into the internet facility. So AI, I don't think it becomes a challenge in Kenya. If we can tackle it out and understand the philosophy behind the innovation that is coming up. The enhancing civil responsibility, participation in community service. When you take the responsibility to graduate, understand the philosophy that is coming up within you, what you want to do and how you want to serve, to become an active citizen. The first thing is your commitment for the betterment of the society. How committed you are, how you are able to manage your commitment and your time management. That is very, very important. That is what we really need for a society to come up, for a society to grow, and for people to understand you and to put all their beliefs in you, because they can believe is a person who is coming to serve us, because that shows your commitment. It encourages individuals to be informed and engaged in the local issues, contributing to a more vibrant and a participatory community. So these are the tips and essence what you should carry when you are moving on to the service part of the community, where you want to enhance the innovations and the creativity, you need those qualities to come in and to give you the well-being, to give you the more challenging aspect. The main aspect that you need is skill development and career benefits. This is your career path. When you graduate today, you are also carrying your career path along with you. Skills acquired through volunteering, you see, such as your project management. Whatever project you take it up, you have to bring it to the victory line. That is your skill. The organization and the leadership, that you carry within you is highly important for you to become a leader of tomorrow. Volunteer experience is highly regarded by employees and can enhance resume, demonstrating a commitment to social responsibility and community engagement. So the way you take up your task is very important for another person to understand your skill in that. So that is where you will enhance yourself into the community development. You can see there is something which is more important is the positive mental impact, what you can do or how you can handle it. That is very, very important. It is associated with improved mental health and well-being. The sense of purpose and fulfillment derived from helping others can reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. Keep in mind, when you are there, you are not supposed to go away from you or deviate away from your task. You have to make another person happy. So that is where the peace that you have endured from this peace foundation, that becomes more efficient in you. What you are able to apply into the society and what you can bring back from the society. So volunteer opportunities can extend to environmental projects, promoting sustainability and a sense of responsibility for the planet. Engage yourself with activities of tree planting, which really happened some few days back. That's a great innovation that took place. Beach cleanups or conservation effort contributing to the protection and preservation of our environment. That is very, very important. Kenya has a lot of facility that we can look and beautify, because it's a land full of beauty things that attracts the tourists to come in. So what is your role to enhance? So be an inspiration to others by actively participating in community service. Individuals serve as a role models and inspire others to get involved. How I told you, there are 4 categories of people within you. There is a pragmatist, there is a theorist, there is a reflector, and there is an activist. It all depends upon how you are going into this society and bring the good results. That is where your ability lies. That is where your skill lies. So 10 years from now, when you graduate from this moment, hearing to all the good speakers who spoke before me, you could understand and resonate those words whenever you get into the community service. Keep up your integrity and work hard. So that is where we will enhance into the community development. You see, it gives you a long-term impact. Community service is not just a short-term commitment. It has the potential to create lasting, positive change in individuals and communities. The ripple effect of volunteer effort can contribute to benefit society long after the initial service is complete. Students, you need to explore diverse volunteer opportunities. You are given the platform here. Many speakers have given you various options where you can indulge in. Find out and get the resource so that you become one of the most committed person of tomorrow. So with this short address, I think it is my privilege to congratulate all the graduates of today for better world tomorrow, and to bring the peace and unity and love to serve our community for a greater impact. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Dr. De Cruz, for sharing your input on the importance of volunteerism and community service. As you've said, volunteering actually does help with mental health, and it does inspire others in the community. Thank you as well for sharing about building empathy and compassion by using volunteerism. So I'd now like to ask our next speaker, Mr. Ben Nyabira from Conrad Adenauer, join us now. You can unmute yourself and you can turn on your video to share with us on the importance of public participation in promoting accountability and transparency. You currently have 10 minutes. So, Mr. Nyabira, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. If you could
I'll
turn
just
on
put
your
on my video. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for being very patient with the many presentations, and also to all the presenters. I shall remove these on. It's not very comfortable. Sorry. Yeah, and of course to all the presenters, I can't believe how they've all managed to keep the time to a big degree. Initially, I didn't know that we were all going to speak within the time given. So I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to speak to the graduates. And I would start by first congratulating everybody for going through this program. Congratulations to all of you. And my duty here today, I've been asked to talk about importance of public participation in promoting accountability and transparency. I think partly the reason I have been asked to speak on this topic for 10 minutes, initially it was 15, but I can understand everybody has been on this call for several hours. So the less we say, the better, is because I have been in the civil society. In the civil society organization, I'm saying organizations specifically because any active citizen that is concerned about governance issues within their community is within the civic space. So it's not people who are very vocal within civil society organizations that may define themselves to be people of civil society in a strict definition of it. And so I think that is primarily why I was asked to speak about this topic. And I know that the issue of public participation is something that everybody in Kenya particularly knows about, because after the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, this is something that we know to be very imperative within our governance system. And often there are many issues that surround it. It's very difficult to go through the issues within the 10 minutes because there are quite many. But I shall just try to give a broad picture on how we got here. And hopefully then when there's another opportunity, we can speak more on public participation, which I know many of you also have some information, or actually know a lot about public participation. so I would also want to say that I don't consider myself an inspirational speaker. Vinny, we've worked in the civil society together for long, so you know that I consider myself a student, always learning from others. So today, I'm privileged that you guys can listen to me for the next 6 or so minutes. Next time, I would want to listen to you guys and learn some of your experiences and maybe even the things that you've studied over the period that you've been in this program. So I'm not really going to give advice. So as I said, I don't consider myself, I just share what I think I know, and it's not, you don't have to take it as a Bible, as some people would say, or a religious book, so that it's not. So public participation, for those who know a little bit about how our current governance system started, many of it started in the US, especially the latter written constitutions that form the basis for our current constitutions. And in the US, at around 1770s and 1780s, when they were working on their constitution, they had these papers that were called federal papers, which were written by civic people who volunteered to write about the issue of governance system that they wanted to have. And one of these was James Madison, who then later became the 4th president of the US. The 3rd president of the US, also Thomas Jefferson, also did write the federal papers. There are many of them. There are more than 80 federal papers, but number 51 is particularly very popular. It is attributed to James Madison. And one of the quotes from this is that, for example, I can quote, he says, "A dependence," talking about which governance system should be ideal, he says, "A dependence of the people is no doubt the primary control on the government." Control because the expectation was that the people we put within our governance system were going to abuse power, because as it was said, men are not angels. So because they're not angels, we need to control their powers in order, before we give them the power, but that power has to be controlled. And so he said, a dependence on the people is no doubt the primary control on the government. But experience has taught mankind the necessity of auxiliary precautions. So there are two important things. There is auxiliary precautions as a means of controlling power, so that those in positions of authority do not abuse the power they have. But then there is a dependence on the people, which, as was said by these founders of our governance system, is the primary control of power for those in governance system. So the auxiliary that they're talking about is mostly the governance system and the oversight that we have. We have parliament, which is supposed to oversight the other arms of government. We have the executive, and also we have the judiciary. And then in Kenya, we also have so many independent institutions. But then these are secondary. The auxiliary, and we are saying they're important, but we are saying these ones are secondary. The primary is the people. And this is something that was done right from 1780-something. It's nothing new. In Kenya, I know we talk of public participation as something new within our 2010 constitution, but it's something that has been with us for so long. Meaning even very old constitutions, even though they don't explicitly mention the need for public participation, within the understanding of the governance system, it is implicit that participation of the people is a requirement. But then, because with time, we've actually come to experience the weaknesses of these auxiliary mechanisms, institutions supposed to oversight each other in order to control the powers of those in positions of governance. We've now come up with, we are forced to explicitly legislate on direct public participation, which is what we call public participation in Kenya, and which Article 10 of the Kenyan Constitution says that everybody has a right to participate, and that the participation should be done in every policy, in every law, and that public officers, whenever in all decisions they make, they have to involve the people, if I can paraphrase it. So, so that is the foundation of public participation. It's really in recognition that it's only the people that can trust themselves with the governance system. We may not trust the people that we put in positions of government. It's not enough to just put them, vote them during elections, and hope that they're going to act in our interest. We still have powers to act directly in the course of the terms that we have. And of course, there are other control measures, including yesterday we had a debate with the Katiba Institute team about presidential term limits, which included the requirement of having terms so that a government is chosen within a certain term, 5 years, after which people have an opportunity to influence the power, those who will be in leadership directly, which is a form of direct public participation, but that can only be exercised within a period of time. In Kenya, it's 5 years. And then also, of course, we also have another limit where someone in the position of president, for example, can only serve a maximum of 2 terms. Many countries have adopted the 2 terms. And of course, there are other limitations, including having person to be declared president, they must win not less than 50% of the population. That's another limitation. And of course, we have supposed to have an independent commission, another limitation to ensure that the institutions are not interfered with. Whether it works all the time, that's another question, but we do have that as another limitation. Another limitation is courts that can listen to electoral disputes. So having participated directly, there are those limitations that are in place. But all these are there, but then we've realized that people cannot be removed completely from the governance system. We cannot vote every 5 years and assume that the secondary auxiliary measures of oversighting the governance system are going to work for us. We must remain on course, ensuring that we know what the people who we've elected are doing, ensuring that we influence decisions that the people are making. And of course, that is where a problem is, because we are told that public participation takes place. People sometimes say other things, and the end result tends to be something else. And so there is a lot of controversy on what amounts to adequate public participation, and courts have had opportunities to say a lot on this subject. I think I have about maybe 3 minutes. And courts have had an opportunity to say a lot about what amounts to adequate public participation. And I'll quote some of what they've said. For example, the Kenyan Supreme Court and the South African Constitutional Court, they've said that, first on defining public participation, they've said that the public having access, it is about the public having access to information about participation and the nature of the engagement, and to provide meaningful opportunity and capacity to participate. So it's more of a duty for public officers to ensure that for public participation to take place adequately, they must ensure that the public has adequate access to information about the opportunity to participate, the nature of the engagement, they need to know about it, and to provide meaningful opportunity and capacity for the people to participate. Of course, this assumes that public participation will be almost in form of a meeting, which is not always the case. And as I said, we won't go into everything. But then something else that the 2 courts have said, the Kenyan and South African courts, is that participation should be inclusive, meaning if an issue affects the population, as much as possible, there's a duty on people in positions of authority to cover the largest extent of the diversity within that is affected by the decision and within the country. And there's more that goes into 2 arguments that we won't go into. And of course, that public participation needs to be continuous, and that both parties, the people and the public officers, have to be committed to the process. They need to show commitment to the process, and that it needs to be a partnership arrangement in the decision making. So these are some of the principles that should be considered by both the people who are participating, but also but of course also the duty bearers. So yeah, in this case, the people in positions of authority. Lastly, because I don't have time, my minutes are over, I'd like to say that public participation has been said to be a duty to represent one's views, and it's not a duty of the agents to accept the views given as a dispositive. This is a decision that was given by a Kenyan court. But then it also said, but consideration in good faith by the office, meaning whenever we participate in public participation, we may not demand that our ideas be taken in. Our right is to give views, and also a right for those views to be considered. On how they'll be considered is usually the problem, but then the courts have said that people in positions of authority needs to consider them in good faith, and they also need to give feedback. There is more into how to ensure that they don't get away with it, even though they many times get away with it, which I think maybe we can do a bit of reading on some of the materials that some of us have participated in writing, but also it's something that we may need to discuss when we have more time. But to conclude, I would just encourage you to, it's something I also encourage myself, that we need to keep, like the governance system that we want to see, it starts with us. First, we need to try and practice what we want to see. So if we want people to be less corrupt, let's not be corrupt. So it starts with us. It's unlikely that we are going to influence others to be good governors if ourselves we are not. So it really starts with us, both in terms of influence the governance system, but also in terms of both influencing the governance system, but also in terms of us being able to, sorry, I was distracted a little bit. Yeah, so it's us being honest with ourselves in order to be able to influence the governance system, but also in order for us to make any ambitions we have in our careers, we have to try and start something. That is the point I wanted to make. It's all about starting to do something, and sometimes you don't know where it will lead you to. I'll stop there, and thank you so much, and sorry for taking more time than I was given. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nyabira, on sharing with us the importance of public participation in promoting accountability and transparency. You're able to learn a lot, especially on the foundation of public participation and in what the Kenyan and South African courts say about the public participation as well. I'd now like to welcome our next speaker, Ms. Sofina, to talk to us on the role of the youth in promoting intercultural dialogue for sustainable peace and development in Africa. Sofina, if you can hear me, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Faith. It's a great pleasure to be here. I want to start by saying congratulations. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Why? Because number one, it shows your dedication, your commitment, and your purpose to be here today. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Global Peace Foundation and all the partners who have continued to invest and explore young people in the country. So thank you for this platform and bringing together 200 people from 47 counties. And so, it's a great privilege to be able to speak after all the speakers, because I feel that we're able to really get into the nitty-gritties. And I want to cover the topic of the role of youth in promoting intercultural dialogue for sustainable peace and development in Africa. And how I want to do this is make it very practical. We'll be able to hear the theory aspect of it, but make it very practical, because I myself am a youth. And really what I'll be speaking on is what is it that we should do to promote intercultural dialogue for sustainable peace and for development. The first thing I want to say is I'll divide it into 3 key areas: community engagement and leadership, mobilizing youth as agents of change, and innovation and collaboration. We get started. When I talk about community engagement and leadership, I think one thing I'd be able to say is we can only create change when we are in positions of leadership. So the first encouragement is to each and every one of us. I mean, look at it. We're talking about peace. How do we arrive at peace? It's by being on the table, being able to negotiate. Earlier, Killian was able to take us through the processes of ensuring peace, having the informal discussion, having the negotiation, having the mediation, and when it gets worse, having the arbitration and the adjudication. So how we can be able to ensure we participate in all this is by being on the leadership table. And, so much has been said, even on volunteership and how to get to the table. But I also want to challenge you. Each of us coming from the different counties, we usually say, when there's no seat for you at the table, go forth and pull your chair and sit there. But I also want to challenge you, most of us being young leaders, to ask the question, have you asked to be included in the table? You're going to pull a chair. What makes you think there's a chair to be pulled? Have you considered you need the tools to be able to create the chair to put at the table? Really, what I'm trying to say is it takes preparation to be able to effectively participate in what we call the decision-making tables when it comes to creating peace. So make sure you equip yourself. Again, congratulations, because through this platform, you are able to acquire information and knowledge and learning and know how you can be able to engage in your different communities. Number 2, you're able to network. This is a whole wider network that you have of fellow leaders in the country and on the continent. So always remember, make sure you have the tools to create your chair that you'll bring to the table. The other aspect, once you're in the leadership position, the other aspect I'd like to cover is on mobilizing youth as agents of change. Now, earlier we talked about the numbers, and I want to appreciate the presentation by Kevin Osido, where he told us the statistics and the data of young people in this country. It's true. Numbers don't lie. We are talking about 80% of the Kenyan population being below 35 years. We are talking about our median age estimated at 19 years. We are talking about 70% of the sub-Saharan Africa population being under 30 years. Again, numbers don't lie. So how is it as leaders we can be able to harness these numbers to make sure that we are promoting peace, we are promoting development? How is it as leaders we can be able to come together and create initiatives that speak to peace and engagement? And it's very interesting because when we talk about mobilizing youth, I always get the notion, people saying leaders lead from the front, and I appreciate each and every one of us. But even practically speaking, for most of us who are young people, we are getting started on the tables of leadership. So I want to encourage you. I want to challenge you. Leadership can also be carried out from the middle. Leadership can also be carried out from the back. So say you're working at an organization. Do you have ideas? Do you have ideas that you front forward to be able to, that people can be able to follow and engage in? Do you have notions? Are you able to come up with something creative and say, kindly follow this to be able to engage with young people? So I think my point is, it's very important to ensure that you're able to mobilize youth, you're able to mobilize the numbers. I mean, this is the age group most of us fall in, and it's our responsibility to make sure we show the light to the other leaders that we engage in. And it's very interesting. I don't know how many of us have heard that when a butterfly flaps its wings, it's able to cause a tornado. That is something that was invented by Edward Lorenz a while back, and that's the butterfly effect. And what it says is small small actions lead to great change. So, with everything that has been covered, even as you go forth to be leaders in the communities, as you go forth to create that change, I think the challenge that is being placed to all of us is to make sure that in your small actions, make sure to create a great change. And then finally, on innovation and collaboration, I think the challenge I have on how you can be able to promote intercultural dialogue for sustainable peace and development is you don't have to work alone. You're not starting from a platform where you are inventing how to work when it comes to ensuring peace and development. Right here, you already have a community in the Global Peace Foundation. But notably is also just to know what are the youth organizations out there that you can be able to collaborate with, on a national scale, on an African scale, to be able to create change and to continue to foster peace and to continue to advocate for development. So just to mention a few organizations that we have in the country, and just to encourage you, so much has been said, especially on volunteerism. See how you can get into these spaces, see how you can volunteer in these spaces, see how you can add value, see how you can bring young blood into these spaces as you continue to advocate for peace and development in the country. So some of the organizations you can be able to engage with are Siasa Place, Pamoja's Peace Building. I know the Youth Agenda and the Youth Alive Kenya are doing a very, very good job. We have organizations such as Sauti Sikika and the Faraja Africa Foundation, and really just other youth-led organizations that are part of a consortium that you can be able to join in as we continue to advocate for peace. And just even being a proud member of some of these organizations myself, I remember the key role we were able to play in the previous elections just to make sure that we have peace. And that I feel was a great success because we are the people on the ground and we are the people who have access to our fellow youth in our communities. So join these spaces, challenge yourself to go out there, seek leadership. You're talking about you being presidents. You're coming out of this training, having knowledge and skills and wanting to do better. So please make sure to join these organizations as you continue to foster peace in our country. And even on a continental scale, you can be able to join the Model United Nations and continue to speak to peace. And I like to use the word advocate for peace. And so that's the aspect of collaboration. But as I come to an end of my presentation, there's something that was mentioned in the presentation is that it's not easy. We're talking about advocacy. It's not easy as young people. I've talked about getting your seat, creating your seat to be at the table. It's not easy. It's going to be a tough journey for some people, but the idea is to be able to stand up for what you believe in. The idea is to be able to, we're talking about you're challenging female genital mutilation. You're going to have the elders who are saying, no, this is our way of doing things. But you have to stand up and say, no, that method of doing things is outdated. We're talking about the political space, being able to challenge vices such as tribalism and nepotism and corruption and injustice. Are you ready to stand up and fight for that? And, I like what Michelle Obama said a while back. When she was supporting Hillary Clinton, and she said, when they go low, we go high. So I think my challenge to each of you as my fellow youth is let's continue to go high. Let's continue to hold the standards that we believe are standards of leadership and standards that will continue to help our nation prosper by bringing development and fostering peace. So with that, I want to say thank you very much and leave you with something that Maya Angelou, the famous civil rights activist, told Oprah. When you know better, you do better. So through this program, you know better, I encourage you, go forth and be better. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophina, on your insight on the role of youth in promoting intercultural dialogue for sustainable peace and development in Africa, and also on your points on community engagement and leadership, innovation and collaboration. And as the fellows here, I hope you've heard what she said about the butterfly effect. So ask you all to have your own butterfly effect as well. So in the interest of time, let me ask our next presenter to come, Mr. Deogratius Magero from the Center for Agriculture and Biosciences International. The floor is yours. If you could turn on your microphone and your video, please. You can now begin.
Hi, thank you very much. Can you please confirm you can hear me?
We can hear you.
Thank you. I just want to first start by saying congratulations, and also congratulations everyone for being patient. So everyone is patient enough to the very last minute. And I am delighted to be here and listen to amazing speeches here, but most importantly, join some amazing young people graduating through this significant program. I would not add so much to what everyone has said, but I would just start by challenging us when we think about empowerment and the fact that we are empowered. I spend most of my time, Sofina calls it gallivanting. Sofina, it was nice to see you, but it's basically engaging young people across the African continent and contributing to their empowerment. And so that has enabled me to just think about what does empowerment really mean? And I believe that this fellowship program has contributed to empowerment of these amazing young people in this call and those that may not be here today. When I speak empowerment, I'm thinking of 3 levels. One, that we at an individual level are empowered with the right skills, with the right knowledge, and most importantly, with the confidence to face that which we intend to face and address. But then the question is, how do we leverage that empowerment to create the change we want to see? Because there's always a question of being the change that I want to be and living that kind of change. And so today I want to add a significant 2 layers to the individual empowerment and challenging our graduates that beyond the empowerment you've received at an individual level, the challenge for us is to go in our communities and add value and contribute to something bigger than us by understanding what are the key issues within our communities that some of our speakers have mentioned and some that you know as amazing fellows. And then leveraging that personal individual level empowerment to contribute to community empowerment, setting up initiatives, building on the ones you've already started, working and partnering with each other. And that is great because it has already been spoken to quite a number of times here. So I'll build up a next level to just say the biggest way you can change and sustain policy beyond you as an individual and even beyond your initiative in the communities is contributing to systems change, which is the 3rd layer of empowerment. That we are empowered at individual levels, great. We leverage the individual empowerment, the knowledge, the skills, and the confidence to come together and change our communities and create community empowerment. And then we need to go slightly further and contribute to systems change. Systems change means that we are able to institutionalize the kind of changes we have seen within our communities. I like a speaker who mentioned our engagement with police officers. So let me use that as an example. In one of our communities, in one country, we saw some amazing young people building a movement to engage with police officers in informal settlements, which is not very easy. And they went even further to set up a youth desk at the police station, where if young people had issues, then the youth desk would address the issues in a safe manner before the policemen would react. And I was like, that is great. That is beyond individual empowerment, contributing to community change. But the question is, when these young people grow and these initiatives change because of their different priorities as they grow up and become adults, how do we ensure that we're going to sustain that kind of a youth desk in a police station? That then invites us to the level of systems change, where we say that these young people then need to engage their governments, they need to engage their institutions, they need to now think about institutionalizing and contributing this idea of a youth desk at a police station into policy. Then that means if it is adopted in policy, which will take several years, of course, as we all know, then it is beyond me as an individual, it's beyond my community, and it's beyond my initiative or organization, but it can be replicated in different places and change systems and serve better people. So I just want to challenge you that as you think about creating the change and living the kind of change you want to see, Also think about how do you sustain that change by creating what I call system level influencing, creating systems change, so that there is so much that can happen beyond an individual, and it can live for our children and our children's children to live. And Sofina has also mentioned something interesting that I think about every day, the numbers. And so today we are speaking to amazing young people. You are the graduates. You are basically the creme de la creme of this community and of your community. But what makes you stand out? Because when you hear 70 to 80% of a population being young, and right now the average, the median age for an African population is 18.8. What makes you unique? Because that in itself is a beautiful potential, but it's also a competitive reality. What makes you unique for me is what I'll share with you so that you think about it going forward as you go back to your communities to serve and to leverage the knowledge. Build an authentic brand. Every single day, when someone opens internet, they have a chance to learn so many things. I usually ask myself, when someone Googles my name, what do they see? That is my authentic brand. When I hear your name, what comes to my mind? That is the authenticity that we're talking about. And so while we speak and create the change we want to see every day, we have to build authentic brands that can outlive our physical presence in rooms. That every single day, when someone thinks about youth empowerment, they think about my name. When someone thinks about good governance and peace building, they think about you. And as you build that, you also have to have an authentic personality, an authentic character, and authentic values. And in this case, we usually summarize by saying, always mean what you say and say what you mean. But then in this world of creating change, especially community change and systems change, there is a lot you are expected of. Communities look at you and say, yeah, this is the person that will solve our problems. Individuals come and say, yeah, you're the people that will solve our problems. And for you to do that even better, I want to tell you something that we rarely talk about. And that is saying, please be kind to yourself. Because you will always be expected to create the change you want to see. But be kind to yourself. Take time to re-energize. Take time to enhance your knowledge. Every day, learn, relearn, and learn. And most importantly, as earlier said by one of the speakers, build authentic partnerships that build you and enable you go to a greater height in terms of your ambition, your initiatives, your goals, and your vision. And most importantly, go out there, mentor younger people, but also open yourself to be mentored. There's a lot definitely you've learned through this process, but mentor other people so that there's that continued knowledge sharing and empowerment, but be open to be mentored by those that have been there before you. Do not offer what you don't have. So always seek growth every single day. Always seek to, refresh so that you're able to give the best version of yourself. And I'll just conclude by saying, since I'm a believer in Christianity, one of the verses that I really like for the young people in the Bible is 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. And it says, do not let anyone look down upon you because you are young, but always set an example for believers. And who would be believers? Everyone else that is interacting with you. Set an example in the speech, or rather in your speech, in your conduct and actions, and they say more in love, in faith, and in purity. That live that authentic self that you have actually gained through the President's Fellowship Program. That walk like a president because you went through the process. Live like a president, speak like a president, and do not be looked down upon because you can be confident enough to be the person that brings the change at individual, community, and systems level. And most importantly, walk in faith and purity that sustain that value you have gained, sustain the authenticity you have built over time, and build a strong community that can be a social support system amongst yourselves. For all that being said, I just want to congratulate you and wish you the very best, and also appreciate Global Peace Foundation for doing this great work and look forward to continuous engagements. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Magero, on your presentation as well. I've liked when you started by saying, be the change that you want to be. I also implore the other fellows to be the change that they want to be. So in the interest of time, I'd like to invite my colleague Vincent to just say a few words and then we can proceed.
So thank you very much, Dio. Nice meeting you again and engaging with you. And I know in the next phase, it's going to be even more interesting because we'll be having a number of physical engagement with the president. So thank you for sharing those words of wisdom with the young people. And now we want to go to the next step. But before we go to the next step, I'd like to appreciate the gracious Nigeria for creating time to attend this session. I'll also like to appreciate Dr. Alton de Cruz for creating time from the Nairobi International School for attending. Mr. Ben Yabira, thank you very much for your word of wisdom. Learning about public participation, the principles of governance and national value, Article 10, the aspect of access to information, Article 35, the fair administrative action, Article 7, Chapter 6 of the Constitution, coming to Chapter 1. Actually, I have to admit that I was trained by you, courtesy of the Institute. And I request maybe you can be able to add it to the president fellowship so that you can be able to share those materials. Yeah, because you don't need to be a lawyer to know you are right. You also meaningfully contribute to the society. So I want also to appreciate Mr. Morris. Morris also representing the youth. But because the CEO of Mesofund highlighted opted the CEO to share what they all of them yeah. Kindly mute.
Austin. Now, kesho tunataka tuende tutembelee Madam Ruth.
Okay, thank you for muting. We also want to thank Mr. Kilian Nyambo from the NCIC for taking time and also sharing. Ms. Sofina, thank you very much for also sharing. And I want to thank also Mr. Peter, the CEO of Mesofund, Ms. Winnie from UNICAF, and also Father Motia sent his apologies. Actually, he was starting the session here and just landed, but he was called urgently by the president to address urgent matters. Thank you very much, Mr. Kevin Osido. I know we are really going to engage with you, the Council Governance Watch, on training the president fellows in the next step on how can we be able to make them resilient to radicalization, the prevention of youth radicalization and violence. Ms. Joy from Mura, also thank you very much. We'll be able to engage with you further in the next phase on how we can be able to promote religious tolerance and also of beauty and diversity. And of course, our patron, Dr. Martin Ngaria, and our CEO, Daniel Zuma, for attending this session. So we are going to the next level, which is even more juicy and interesting. So it's the graduation. So today, this is the day we always say for comrades that by the powers that have been given by this institution, we give you the powers to read and do that pertains to this particular course that went through. So my parting shot, before I call my CEO to give some highlights and also to hand it over to Faith to do the, we facilitate the graduation session. I just want to challenge the President Fellows to just read more and practice the 7 principles of the ego. I will only share with you 5. So for the 2 will be your homework, as we normally do. So the ego test before you trust.
Maybe sorry for interruption a bit. We can't hear you well. So at least you can be very close to your mic so that we can get you. Sorry.
So you can hear me now?
Not really.
Philomena, are you able to hear me?
Hi everyone. You're a bit far. Kindly just come near to your either laptop or something.
Okay, so thank you. So you can hear me now?
Yes, loud now. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. So I'd like to just challenge us, the President Fellows, as a parting shot. It has been an amazing learning session for all of us. And we are creating a pool of young leaders who are change makers, who are solution creators. And for us, our philosophy is, it is not us versus them. It is about us knowing the problem and solving the problem, because it takes all of us to create that ideal country or the world that we want to see. And that's why we promote moral and innovative leadership in every level. So I want us to just embrace or learn about the 7 principles of the eagle of number 1, testing before trusting. That the eagle also goes through a process of change. When it's about 40 years and it has to live 70 years, it has to go high into the mountain where it's very cold and pluck its feathers, remove its talons and its beak for it to grow again, for it to live to 70 years. So you'll face those times in your course of work. That the eagle, despite of many things, it has a sharp vision. As much as it's very miles away in the sky, if it has targeted a rat, it will go for that rat, even if it meets a squirrel or a hyena or anything, it focuses on getting the rat. It eats flesh. It doesn't eat rotten meat. So what does that tell you? You need to constantly read and read and read and equip yourself with new knowledge and wisdom. And of course, the other one, the eagle embraces the storm. When other birds are running away, when it is raining, that is the time the eagle flies and flexes its feathers. So use the storm as opportunity to spring you to the next level. So I'll hand it over. So Daniel, are you there? We'd like to hear your remarks before we go to the graduation. So we'd like to hear your words of wisdom, and then I'll call upon Faith to take us through the graduation process. So to you, Daniel. Thank you.
Hello, you want me to speak again? You mean me, Daniel Juma?
Yes, just to summarize on the presentation, and then we call upon to take us through the graduation.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I want to really appreciate all those who have spoken today, especially patron Dr. Manu Chandaria, who created time out of his busy schedule to be with us today. I also want to congratulate and thank Dr. Kilian Nyambu from NCIC for a very well-researched presentation today. I was actually learning a lot of things from it as a peace builder. And, all the speakers, Sofina, Merino, De Gracious Magero, the CEO of Wezo Fund, and everyone who has been able to talk to the fellows. This is very, very important for these fellows to listen to all these words of wisdom so that they can remember that on this day, on the 7th of December 2023, they actually were inducted, into this President's Fellowship Program. And I like what Dave Richards, told you, that when you walk like a president. Actually, one of the things, I need you to know that this is just we are putting you in a position out there that will make you want to behave like a president, that will make you aspire to be the president, not just of the countries or not just the country politically, but also president of your company, president of your institution. So basically, the President's Fellowship is about leadership, that you are being inducted today to become leaders of your communities. And we are challenging you to lead where you are, that you don't need to be president to lead. You can lead from your family. If you have your family, and you lead by showing the best example. Let your kids see the kind of leader that you are. In your community, if you see a problem that needs a solution, instead of going out there to complain and blame the government, can you lead and solve that problem? If it's a problem of garbage, can you start by actually showing how to be able to fix that? So from today onwards, everyone who has participated in this program, you are taking ownership. You're moving away, from being a child to being a leader, being an adult. The world wants to engage with you as an adult. And for the world to recognize you as an adult, you have to take into cognizance all those things that you have had, from all the speakers here we have today. So mine is to really thank you. Thank you so much, for participating in this program. The third cohort, really, as you made me proud. And I really look forward to interacting with you, share whatever you have learned today with the rest of your family, your friends, so that they can see, the amount of knowledge, the amount of skills that we've been able to gain today. So mine, on behalf of the Global Peace Foundation, on behalf of our founder, Dr. Preston Moon, on behalf of President Flynn, and all the leadership. I'll be traveling to Manila for Global Peace Convention tomorrow. We will be following up everything that you're going to be doing. And please be proud of yourself, and you have the power to lead today and walk like a president, behave like a president. So power is taken, it's not given. So go ahead and take it. Thank you so much.
Wow, that is Daniel for you. Thank you very Daniel for also. I have to tell them that you mentored me. This man you're seeing here was mentored by Daniel and was the personal assistant to the late Ken. I went through the training in Global Peace Foundation. I have to tell you, through that engagement with Ken, we always have fun for 3 years in a row. So take what Daniel has shared with you positively and know that God has given you everything. Read the book of Genesis, that He's given you dominion over everything. So let nobody ever limit you, make you feel that you cannot make it. There is nothing that is impossible with God. So thank you very much, Daniel. So as we go to the next level, so I would like us to thank this lady sitting next to me, Faith. It will become a coffee. Yeah? So let's appreciate Faith. Yeah? Faith has been running with this program consistently. So that shows you, and she's a young person. She's still in school studying, studying.
Peace and conflict studies.
Peace and conflict studies. So she's always balancing. Time is never there. Time is created. She's been able to run with this particular program, and Faith, we are proud of you. So for the next meeting, we are going to challenge you. From here, this will be going to be your assignment. For us now to come out as a cohort next year, we want to go for mountain climbing. We have to overcome our limitations. It's going to be a 10 weeks challenge to come up with a challenge where all these leaders, every 3 months, we need to do a challenge to help each other to overcome our limitations. And lastly, let's also thank Dr. Manu Chadari. So through the President Fellows across the 47 counties, Dr. Manu was able to sponsor over 10 tree nurseries through the A Million Tree campaign. And the President Fellows across the 47 counties have been very instrumental in supporting 30% forest cover by doing trees. So Dr. Manu has sponsored a Global Peace Foundation, established 10 tree nurseries of 100,000 capacity. And next year, we are planning also to do another 10 tree nurseries across the 10 counties. And we'll be engaging with the President Fellows to ensure that we take care of our environment. So let's appreciate Dr. Manu also for that. So some of the counties that have benefited from the tree nursery, we have Kilifi Methodist River Church, we have the Starehe Girls, we have Laikipia, we have Nairobi Primary, we have Kaptagat Girls, we have Daystar University, we have Namunywenda Mixed Secondary School in Busia, we have Alliance High School, we have Alliance Girls High School, the other one is Alliance Boys, then we have the Konza Methodist. So next year, we are going bigger, better, and this is some of the interventions that we work closely with the President Fellows. Next year, we are doing another 10, so we're doing 3 per quarter. So with that, thank you, and now we go to the most exciting part about you.
Thank you, Vincent, for your presentation. I know we're all tired and the time is gone. So I'll just start on the graduation portion. Let me just share my screen just 1 second. Okay, this is now the graduating class of the President's Fellows, third cohort 2023. And on your screens, you can see the names of the graduating class from different regions. I'll just read them one by one as we continue. We have from the coastal region, Mr. Liban Ali from Mombasa, then Mohammed Ismail, Mombasa, Salwa Mohammed, Mombasa, Binti Mohammed Zani, Kwale, Gibran Mwaisa, Taita, and Janet Kai, Mombasa. The next region that we have is the Northeastern region, and we have Abdi Aden Digale from Garissa, Mohammed Abdinur from Garissa, Mohammed Nur Farah Arab from Garissa, Abdi Ahmed from Wajir, Barhanuddin Mohammed, Mandera, Ibrahim Alio Haji, Mandera, Khalif Halima Hussein, Mandera. The next region is the Eastern region. We have Ian Mutuma, Isiolo, Lilian Gatuna, Isiolo, Florida Gathure, Meru, Lucy Mwendwa, Meru, Mercy Mudomi, Meru, Santa Kagendo, Meru, Mercy Mutana, Embu, Magdalene Munanga, Machakos, Tabitha Wangeshi, Machakos, and Evans Mutavi, Makueni. The next region is the Central region. We have Ken Muya, Nyandarua, Muchoki Margaret, Nyeri, Stella Wairimu, Nyeri, Wangui Kimani, Nyeri, Angela Njagi, Kirinyaga, Tulula Ian Muranga, Anne Nguthuku, Kiambu, Caroline Kiarie, Kiambu, and Flomina Mucheke, Kiambu. Rift Valley region, we have Winnie Logiel, Turkana, Joylyn Kokide, West Pokot, Roslyn Lelano, Samburu, Abisagi Obara, Wasingishu, Paxton Odhiambo, Wasingishu, Marceline Kea, Wasingishu, Revin Kibet, Elgeyo Marakwet, Andrew Lekuna, Laikipia, Lucy Ewaton, Laikipia, Martin Gichuhi, Laikipia, Judy Gathura, Nakuru, Saidi Kibet, Nakuru, Michael Kioshian, Narok, Millicent Naserian, Narok, Dr. Kiprotich Victor, Bomet, Franklin Kirui, Bomet, Maureen Chepngeno, Bomet. From the Western region, we have Jennifer Abuli, Kakamega, Melvin Shatimba, Kakamega, Whitney Mwenje, Kakamega, Agneta Etale, Vihiga, Nalwa Walter, Bungoma, Nelly Kubasu, Busia. The next region is the Nyanza region. We have Audrey Faith, Siaya, Kelvin Onyango Ochieng, Siaya, Tom Owino Gori, Kisumu, Austin Omondi, Homa Bay, Maslin Odhiambo, Homa Bay, Samuel Odul, Homa Bay, Stacy Akinyi, Homa Bay, Wambura Joseph Mwita, Migori, Mwita Lucas, Migori, Philip Mtesa, Migori, Arnold Gekonge, Kisii, Enoch Mongare, Nyamira. The Nairobi region, we have Faith Karori, Kaimenyi Samuel, Mary Kibere, Rose Baraza, and Sharon Sifuma Cole. And lastly, we have now our fellows with special disability, which is Jacqueline Ndugwa Waiharo. Thank you so much. Those are now the graduating class. We'll now move to the next section, which is now the most outstanding President Fellows. These are now the fellows who stood out from each region, who've done exemplary work in the President's Fellows, be it in training or participating not just in the activities, but also in the GPF activities as well. So from the coastal region, we have Salwa Mohammed, Mombasa, Gibran Mwaisa, Taita. From the northeastern region, we have Abdi Aden Digale, Garissa, Ibrahim Alio Haji, Mandera. Eastern region, we have Evans Mutavi, Makueni, Tabitha Wangeshi, Machakos. From the central region, we have Flomina Mucheke, Kiambu, Tulula Ian Muranga. From Rift Valley region, we have Michael Kioshia, Narok, and Baxton Odhiambo, Wasingishu. Western region, we have Melvin Shatimba, Kakamega, and Agneta Etale, Vihiga. From the Nyanza region, we have Mwita Lucas, Migori, and Austin Omondi, Homa Bay. Nairobi region, we have Sharon Sifuma from Nairobi and Rose Baraza as well. Let's give a round of applause for our graduating class of the President Fellows. You've all done an exemplary job. I'd also now like to ask the chairman, as he's been voted by his fellows, by the other fellows, Mr. Mwita Lucas, to give us our closing remarks and vote of thanks. Mwita, if you could fix your screen.
Yes. Do you hear me, Faith?
Yes, we hear you.
Thank you. So my name's Mwita Lucas, President Fellow from Nyanza region. I'm very impressed for today's meeting. Let me start first to say thank you for GPF, for this platform that you gave us. Thank you for also the partner, mostly Manu Chandaria Foundation. It has been a very amazing time, very amazing opportunity to all presidential fellow from all the regions and from all the counties representing Kenya. Thank you also to all other partners that have been involved for this, and also not forgetting the trainers who gave us the knowledge and who has been with us from the start. My special thanks also goes to the chairman, Balozi, who is Ambassador Budoi Sam, who has been with us for long. He went to studies in US, but we still remember the remarkable work that he done to us, and we appreciate much for the concern that he has been with us. Also, special thanks to all the graduates who today have made it. I know we were many who participated for this forum, but by God's grace, today we are here, few of us, but that was a recommendable job that we did. And maybe for those who never made it to this graduation list, we call upon your maybe you can, I know the management has a way to do something, to do replacement or something that can be done so that you can also enjoy the graduation that coming next year. I want to also to thank all today's guests who have been with us today. They have talked a lot of things which are very necessary to our life. I don't want to go back and talk about what they have talked already, but I want to tell you that we have the best team now that you can call upon to work with. For the team from NCSI, this is a team that you can work on ground with, and for all, even those from a different field, I know you embrace volunteerism and also team building. You have these ambassadors through our Madam Faith. You can contact us. They are graduates. Most of them are graduates. Let me say that 90% or 95% are graduates, and most of us also are master holders. Those are the doctors. And also I know there are other people who have different faculties, diversified from different fields that have graduated. I want also to request you that for the speakers of today, I know you are holding different positions in different sections. We are not job seekers, but we are here with the spirit of volunteerism. Anytime you wish, you may also involve us in your fields. We are here as presidents, graduates from this course, which involve a lot of disciplines that we've undertaken. Most of it being the peace, which is the backbone of this Republic of Kenya. So we are very happy. We are humbled today on behalf of the President's Fellows that graduated today. I know everyone is feeling very much joyful for this moment. We've been waiting it for more, and today it has made a day. So let me promise you that we are going outside to make sure that we deliberate, and we are going also to give this knowledge that you've given us to the community through engagement, creating awareness, and involving them by even social media platforms and other platforms that we've been called upon. So there are two people that I will not finish my statement without mentioning them, because they have been very close to help me make sure that the President's Fellow programs has been running smoothly. I have one person who is Flomina Mcheke. She has been very, very supportive to me in terms of planning and other sort of things. I also recommend there is Salwa from Mombasa. She's a lady. She has been also very close to me, plus all the team from Nyanza region who have been guiding me on the way of leading these presidential fellows, plus also the fellows who has been also very close to me. I can't mention you. I know you remember your effort is also recommendable for the job that we've done. Today we are graduating. Yes, we are going out of the field. It's like we've done the part that we know. Now it remains the part that we don't know. So we are calling also the GPF team to consider the effort that have put much on us, so they can call us for field works. They can also involve us for any activity they think is worthy to us. And as also presidential fellow, I also remind you that you don't have to be the job seeker, but you also create a job for other people to come and fit in your in a space that you've created. So I don't have much today to speak, but I want to thank God because we've been waiting for this day for long, but today it has come to the day that we've been waiting for. So thank you very much. We are humbled as our presidential fellows, and we are looking forward to make sure that everything that you've given us a chance for will disseminate to the community. We are working for the community and to the community. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Muita Lucas, for your speech. I'm being reminded that I left someone out from the graduation list. So Mr. David Toitotek, don't worry, you're there. And now as we close, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. And to the fellows, I'd also like to echo what my boss, Mr. Daniel Juma, has said. Be presidents, not just politically, but be the presidents in your own organizations, in other organizations as well, and be the change that you want to be. This was echoed by another speaker as well. So the class of 2023 third cohort President Fellows, I'd like to congratulate you. You have officially graduated, and I wish you the best of luck as you continue with your future endeavors. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Faith.
Quite welcome. Have a good day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Faith.